as though I have conquered death. I live death every day. I am surrounded by it, smothered by it. Look at you now. He who would have everlasting life. You seek to defy death, yet you cannot even defy sleep. And our like sleep is to death. It is a painted death.
You can't have that cookie, Elmo. Rocco wants to eat it.
I have tried to be your friend, but you will not listen to me. So you invited this monster. Don't make me kill somebody.
Woo! While they sleep, we work. Okay. While they sleep, we work.
Good morning, come on in. Coffee's good, fresh and hot. There's a waffle in the baker on the grill. We're making bacon. You're always welcome back.
Charge!
There's a fire beneath my skin. There's a fever that makes me ill. Gotta love the love that kills. I got 24 hours to live. Come back. I'm down on my knees. Come back. I'm begging you, please.
What is up, all you fine, beautiful people? What are you doing up at 2:20 East Coast time? Although, I know for some of you, it hasn't even cracked midnight yet. So we'll keep you entertained. We'll see what's up and see who's here in the chat. We have got, of course, one of our reigning and defending champions of the chat here, Son of Liberty Radio. It is great to see you, my friend, and thank you for staying up a little bit longer. Hopefully we'll entertain you a little bit here. We have got Mr. Monkey Boy 1969 saying, oops. I understand. I've been there. Micro is here. It's good to see you. And hello. Let's see here. Who else have we got? We've got Jay Lee, a regular in the chat. It's good to see you, Jay Lee. Tip of the glasses. I don't have my cap on tonight. You will take an order of short stacks with a cup of chocolate milk to go. And I have to tell you, your order is ready. Son of Liberty Radio says Travis Charest stuff. Lots of rare indie books. Neil Adams, ultra rare stuff. Hard to find. Barry Windsor Smith stuff. I thought you were going to say black and white stuff. But no, I think I got BWS means Barry Windsor Smith. Good. Just seeing how we're doing. Yeah, that's right. The stream is coming from inside of your house, Jay Lee. Did he watercolor his art, Duchamp? It looked like it. Are we talking about Barry Windsor Smith? Yeah, I mean, I believe he did. Yeah, he used watercolors, inks. He could do everything. Those guys were amazing. Hello, Jeremy Burtz. It's good to see you, Julie Pascal. Hello, good to see you. And hello to the chat. As always, Stephen Rockwood. Yes. Did someone say Barry Windsor Smith? Barry Windsor Smith's artwork brings all the ladies to the yard. Let's see here. We've got Angela Curry. How are you doing, Angela? Good evening, and I hope you were doing well. Let's see here. We have got Jeremy Burtz again. Always good to see Jeremy Burtz. Angela Curry again. Micro, Julie Pascal. Skip Edwards, what's up? And how's it going, my friend? Hello, Waffle Lodge, he says. And we say hello back to you, my friend. It's good to see you. Let's see who else we have. We have RP here for the waffles. Absolutely. Yeah, come for the waffles and stay for the comics. That's what we do. Let's see. Hey, all says Antoine Dennison. It's good to see you, my friend. OC Steve. Hey, yo, OC Steve. It's good to see you. Let's see. J Lee, RP. Hey, LCG. Indeed. Always hail CG. Everybody is saying hello, Barry Windsor. Barry is the boss. Absolutely right. Yeah, we got to love that stuff. So, yeah. So I was going to do some figure sketching just to kind of unwind. It's been a great week. It's been a bit of a crazy week. And just trying to unwind after a long one. So I kind of am doing some figure sketching at this fine hour. And usually it takes me a little while to get into a figure groove when I work, because everything I do, I'm usually doing in paint. But I thought it would be, I know a lot of you guys are obviously interested in a lot of artwork and a lot of different things, aspects of drawing and creating. Many of you are artists yourselves. So I thought it would be fun to kind of show you guys my scribbly, messy process as far as how things go with the figure. And, I've been needing to do just some sketching, because that's how, in a lot of cases, some of the things that happen in my layout pages come out of these figure sketches. And I'll be working on a figure or working on a pose for a figure, and I'll go, oh, I know what composition I want to put that in. So you guys are going to get a little bit of a look at that tonight. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. Sometimes those things can involve monsters. Sometimes those can involve more human figures. It just depends on wherever the evening takes me, wherever the drawing takes me. Let me see here. And hey, SDA, what's up? Good to see you. RB, present. I'm going to say that's how it was said. Let's see here. SDA is here. Oh, got some great news today. The Steins books 1 and 2 combined platform sales passed 26,000. God, I can't read for the life of me. 26,000 copies sold today. Congratulations. Everybody say congratulations to Jay Lee there in the chat. That's great stuff. Look at all you fine people. Antoine Dennis in here. Shant, have you ever painted another artist drawing? Let me think. I don't think so. I haven't been asked yet, but I mean, I'm sure it'll happen at some point. Hail chat, hail Waffle Lodge, American Comics Company. You're always in good company with American Comics Company. It's good to see you. Yes, SDA. Shant, I was having trouble tracking down some 200-pound papers, so I had to get some 300-pound paper. It's thick as hell. Yeah, 300-pound watercolor paper. You can roof a house with it. It's amazing. And that's kind of the fun thing, with what we do here is this paper right here is actually not tremendously heavy, but it is very durable. And it is that toned media paper tan. And it's great stuff. If you've never worked on it before, I would highly recommend it. I would highly recommend, taking a look at it and, seeing, if it's something you want to experiment with or something you want to try. And that's always been kind of the way I go about my work is kind of just, I'll see somebody working with something, or I'll see something, at an art store, and I'll go, oh, I wonder what that does. And I'll just, bring it home and see how it works. And that's ultimately, I think, the only way you really ever figure stuff out, because you can take recommendations from people, but we all have our own, kind of way of looking at things. Oh, cool. Son of Liberty Radio says, I went to art school in Savannah, but decided to become an anthropologist. Wow, that's cool. For a few years, and a few years later became a physical therapist. Very nice. I can barely draw stick figures now. Well, what's so funny is everything about drawing and sketching the figure, if I was going to, give some advice on it, there's some really great figure drawing books out there. There's a lot of really great stuff out there that you can look at for figure drawing. But at the end of the day, I think that so much of it just has to do with not only practice, but just kind of experience playing around with it and looking at, I sometimes I look at figure models, sometimes I'll look at all of that kind of stuff, but it's a very tough thing to pick up just during the course of an art school education, as I'm sure anyone will tell you, and as I'm sure you would know yourself. And the real trick of it is working on the figure in a way that you enjoy, because anything that you're going to do and you're going to spend time painting and working on, you want to make sure you are enjoying it, because it's going to be hard no matter what. But that's the thing that'll keep you going. That's the thing that'll keep you able to kind of function. And I like the idea. The funny thing about drawing or painting on stream, but I consider this kind of more drawing. Funny thing about painting or drawing on stream is that it's really hard to do. It's really hard to walk and chew gum, or as they say, or talk and paint. But I do think that it's really good to get some practice in, because that's a fun aspect of what we do here, So yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Congrats, Jay Lee. People saying congratulations on the sales there. SDA as well. Let's see here. Hello, Shant and the chat. The art and times of Jay Ryan. But we know who you really are. It's good to see you here, my friend, under any name, under any circumstance. It's good to see you here. Let's see here. The paper I use doesn't weigh more than a few grams. Stephen Rockwood drawing. There you go. Yeah, the paper I use, again, you could go parasailing with it. It's pretty serious. And I like it. I love the stability of it. Although I will tell you, I am slowly but surely falling in love with this media paper that I'm using right now. And there's just something really, nice about it for me. The trick for me, I got to make sure I get this on camera. See, the biggest trick for me is figuring what angle this is sort of why it's an exploration phase, what angle I can do. So if I tilt my paper down like this, I can't see the figure. So I'm kind of seeing it at an angle. And so it's kind of harder for me to see what's going on. So there's a lot of practice in getting used to all of the stuff that we're doing here. And, but it's fun. That's the whole fun of it. I mean, that's the thing that for me if I have to do something like paint or draw, the thing that makes it fun is kind of just, getting used to a new setup, a new table, a new angle. All of that stuff is so fun. Oh, let's see what's going on here. Yeah, hello, Sean Chat. So what is the lady you are painting doing? No idea yet. She's just a series of lines. I see boobs. We can see boobs anywhere, It's whenever we're looking at squiggly lines. But you are correct. You are not. I'm not going to gaslight you. That is, in fact, what you are seeing. So don't be frightened here. Oh man, I was laughing the other day about that. That just if I could go, I think I can officially go almost the rest of my life without hearing the phrase gaslighting. And I'm sure people in San Diego are equally exhausted with hearing it. Its namesake is in San Diego. So if you've never been to San Diego Comic-Con or been to the Gaslight District, you might not get that reference and might not have seen that movie with Ingrid Bergman, if I'm not mistaken, in it, but it's a great flick. And so, yeah, for me, when I'm looking at, figure drawings, it doesn't matter what I'm figure drawing. I'm always looking for, those angles and just kind of, this is the warm-up stuff, the warm-up phase that I go through when I'm doing this stuff is just starting to think about things like, ribs and like the muscle structure and the way that everything's going to come together. And then like, hip bone tilts and all that exciting stuff that we do. All right. And, for me, I love to paint the figure. Usually I'll paint from reference, but obviously not when I'm doing the comic book stuff as much, although I do get reference for that. But I love to just start playing around almost from the start with, see if I can move this light over here a little bit for you. There we go. Almost from the start with some color. Because I think that it's a fun way to sketch. A really fun way to sketch. Just playing around with how you can add color to it and how you can make something that's meditative. And yeah, RP Oceanside, represent. That's right. I stayed in one of the older hotels way back in the day that was in the Gaslight District. It was pretty cool. I love that area. Really great architecture. Bullet and Jackalman, what the heck is going on here? Painting. We're painting. That's what it is. Somebody is getting sued at the life and times of Bullet and Jackalman. That's right. Mark Silvestri is taking my name. It's an honor. There you go. Thanks, everybody. Pick up Sean's book. It's now, yeah, it's going to blow your minds. Yeah, it is going to be great. I'm really looking forward to that book. Kia ora, Shant, and chat. There you go. Let's see here. What is going on? I don't ever know what's going on here. I thought gaslighting had something to do with Zippos and farts. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. Yeah, I loved my Zippo lighter when I was a kid. I still have one kicking around here somewhere, but I loved doing Zippo lighter tricks when I was a wee lad. That was fun stuff to do. And I would fiddle with the Zippo lighter so much. Teachers would get so annoyed with me for doing that, but that was the kind of thing it was. I mean, it's funny because my Zippo lighters would get confiscated if I ever got caught with them when I was at school. But it's like I couldn't forget to or stop for I couldn't not bring them with me when I went places. And then once I had them, I couldn't not fiddle with them. So here you go. That's the problem. That was the thing I ran into. That was my bear to cross, as they say. Let's see here. Yeah, Hotel Circle for me, man. Yeah, there you have it, right? Shanth, we really need a rough script concept Ashcan style book as an add-on for this campaign. I know, we're working on it. We'll see what we can come up with. The biggest thing is going to be we have to hit certain thresholds to make all of that stuff economically feasible. And, we'll see where it goes. So, but we've got some time, which is the great thing about, all this stuff. And I will be doing, let me also say this. I don't know if I'll do it as an add-on, but I'm very likely going to do between Nosfero and issue 2, just because I've got a ton of artwork piled up. I am very likely going to be doing another art book in between books 1 and 2, because those I've done 2 art books already. They were always planned to be but there was always planned to be more. Basically like the old convention sketchbook thing that we used to do, for those of you guys who remember those good old days. And that's what we'll be. Sean, can you make yourself a Bob's Ross style intro? Guys, if I make one more intro, I love making intros. You guys know this, so I'm not going to be able to keep any secrets from you guys. But holy cow, man, I've been on an intro tear. Did you poor creatures not see the video I loaded today for my boy Michael? I mean, whew. I have to, sometimes I know how, and I know Michael's probably doing all right. He says he's doing all right. He's fine. But, he's just, it's tough. It's exhausting. But when you're a busy machine of a person like Michael is, getting sick is, it's a fact of life, but man, is it frustrating. I know how motivated he is. So any way I can, no matter how stupid it is, any way I can get the word out about the Lucent, signing up for the email list and just kind of keeping it out there. I said, I've got to embarrass myself more than usual this morning. But yeah, I will probably do a Bob Ross video at some point because it seems to me it has to happen, So we'll see this color shift in a sec and we'll see where it goes. Let me see here. Let's see here. Oh my gosh. Let me scroll back. Gosh. He's giving a lot. The Monsters book is amazing. Thank you very much. Monsters books are amazing. Yes, indeed, Angela Curry. Art books rule. I do love me some art books, and I love talking art books. Just get yourself a ginger for a wig and wear it during painting streams. Yeah, that's true. I can't do a blonde one because I don't want Khabib to come over and break my arms off and beat me to death with them. So that could happen. I don't want to offend. Stephen Rockwood drawing. Sorry, I had this in the background just listening to the stream. Yes, I do. There you go. RB. That video is the best thing I've seen on the planet. I could not stop laughing. Yeah. Well, you remember me from college. Used to have fun back in the days, man. Having fun, doing videos, and total buffoonery, as they say. Hello, all. It's Camel Moon's fault. Yeah, I think it's contagious through streams, maybe. That's what it is. Hey, Bullet Ninja. Angela Curry, EVS has hours of intros, and I tell you what, God bless him. God bless him for those intros. Stephen Rockwood drawing. A hardcover is coming out soon with extras added on. Right, there you go. Micro says, I pre-ordered the Weapon X Gallery Edition. It will be sweet. Yeah, I don't even doubt that. Skip Edwards, if you slept less, you could make more intros. That's true. I agree. What are we drawing? We are sketching figures in paint and seeing where it goes. So we'll see how it goes. You never know. Get a rainbow wig and you can become a protected class. I'm already in a protected class. You know what I mean? I'm in first class. Boom. I'm just kidding. If it wasn't for gym class, I wouldn't have any class at all. So let's see what we got here. Yeah. So lots of fun stuff going on. And I've been, I've just been hanging out and trying to get, you'll see me do things like this. So here's a little flesh tone hint for all of you guys. It doesn't matter what you're doing your work in, whether it's digital or traditional. It's one of the things that I love to do is remind people that if you want to make believable flesh tone, you can take your warmest hues and put those into the shadows and then go back into the highlight areas with something that's cooler and grayer, and it will make it stronger. Julie Pascal, glad to catch the beginning and able to say hi. Got to get to sleep, though. We'll catch the replay. Good night. Take care, Julie, and sleep well, my friend. Sleep well. So there we go. Put a little bit of a highlight there. And then there we go. And when I'm doing this kind of thing, the thing that I really enjoy about it the most is just the fact that you've already got a beige sort of, tan tone paper there. So it gives you a lot in terms of a ground, in terms of how it's coming together. So dropping those highlights in is easier. You kind of are on either side of the highlight. You go dark and then you start pulling those highlights out with this paint, which is why I love it. That's a fun thing. So yeah, Julie Pascal, take care. Yeah, laughing. Insomniac Artists Unite. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my whole rule with sleep, which is kind of, it is what it is that I heard the best advice is that regardless, it does not matter what time you go to sleep. It's the best bit of advice I can give to people with insomnia. Not saying I have it, but not saying I don't. Is that is that it matters if you get up at the same time. So if you get up at a consistent time, no matter what time you go to bed, it is healthier for your body than if you go to bed and wake up at different times. And I remember hearing that, and it changed the way that I think about everything I do and about how I sleep. And I went, oh, and it just took a lot of stress off of all that stuff, because I would find sometimes I could go to bed at 4 and I would wake up at 8, and I would say to myself, like, oh, you think, oh, I'm supposed to get X amount of hours of sleep. When in reality, it's you will be tired early if you didn't get enough sleep. But don't try to force yourself to stay down and have an erratic, morning ritual, because it's not good for you. Apparently it's absolutely terrible for your psychology, is having an irregular waking period. So there's some advice from your Uncle Shanth this evening. Let's see here. WonderCon, yeah, 2022. Happy birthday at Shanth and Jetty Art. Still burning the midnight oil. I see I am. And happy birthday to you, KSSS. Happy birthday indeed. That's what dead people say. Well, I mean, none of them are alive to talk about it or defend themselves. So, we can put words into their mouth if we have to. Angela Curry says, hey again, KSSS. Yeah, guys, is it me? I've been checking in and out of streams because I've just been, I've been just getting stuff ready on the book and checking in with, that all important family, all those kinds of things. But I feel like there have been a lot of streams going on tonight and today in general. I saw my buddy and brother Gabe El Taib streaming, lots of cool stuff going on. So it seems like we've got an active convention circuit already. Let's see here. Oh, wow. It just jumped again. Yeah, traditional rules, but if you're digital, I understand it's a survival, but you should pick up a pencil now and then. It's good for you too. And I would say to people the exact same thing on the opposite end. I draw on a trackpad all the time with my finger, just like sketch things out and design. Digital is so important, and I think both are great, but there's something really nice about, I think for you guys as an entertainment sort of thing, people like to see traditional media every now and again. It's fascinating to me because I like both, but I think that it's harder I like watching people do woodworking and stuff, but I think it's harder to find people doing it, and it's hard certainly to film and photograph it. Yeah, everybody's saying hello, Jay Lee. That's exactly what I do. I found if I go to bed after 2 a.m., I can sleep till noon. But if I go to bed before midnight, I'm awake at 4 a.m. Even like that I'm like that ever since I moved back from Japan. Yeah, that is a big thing. What's up, Ellie Munoz? I'm sorry. Hopefully I pronounced that right. When I eat clean, I only need 5 hours of sleep. Too much carbs. I sleep for 8 hours and wake up groggy. Yeah, I feel hungover. I feel like somebody stole my life when I sleep too much. I don't know if you guys have that, but I wake up and I'm like, oh, what the hell? Like when I sleep well, sometimes I feel like, oh no, I don't know if I can do it. Let's see here. Yeah, once you hit a certain age, you can just run for days and weeks on end like you could before. Yeah, it's absolutely true. Let's see here. Oh, you can't just run for days and weeks. I will tell you this. I am waiting for that to happen. Happy belated birthday, KSSS. Shane was funny day. I missed that. Yeah, I got a link to that stream, and I got it after I was out doing other stuff with the family, but I bet it was hilarious. Yeah. KSS is now 132 years old. Okay, got to hop off the computer at work and get ready to head home. So should be back in about 45 minutes. All right, my friend Jaylee, we will keep a light on for you. Let's see here. Yes. Thanks for remembering Skip Edwards. I never used a trackpad. I still use a mouse to draw digitally. Yeah, absolutely. That's all sorts of ways. I'd like to do traditional on a live stream, but I have ugly hands. Well, I'm not. My hands aren't anything to write home about. Let's see here. I prefer to use a trackball. Ooh, that's one way of doing it. Food hangover is a real thing. I agree with that. The Kensington trackball is the best. Angela Curry. Shane had me crying. So funny. Yeah, Shane is hilarious, man. Shane Davis is great. Although I will tell you, my interest in Shane Davis at this point is purely for at some point I want to have a boxing conversation with him, because I think he's one of the fellow big time fight fans. So I'd love to talk boxing with him. I know Gabe and I've talked boxing and fighting before too as well. I know he's a fight fan, but Shane kind of came in and that was like a central central thing of his conversations. I was like, oh my gosh, he likes fighting. Oh, that's great. So yeah, it's always cool to see that stuff. There we go. But yeah, I will tell you this. Every day I wake up to do this stuff and I go to make artwork. I was thinking about this the other day. When people talk about what should you do, what should you, do with your career, what should you do with your work? I always tell, what should you do for a job? I was listening to, okay, let me give you some context. I was listening to a video by Perch, and he was talking about responding to someone who said, would you say it's true that, do something you love and never work a day in your life? And I don't know why, it really stuck with me, because his answer was that's not really true, in terms of he doesn't believe that's true. And I remember thinking to myself, yeah, I don't know if I've ever thought that was true either. But, if someone were to say to me, do I think people should do comics or make comics or work in comics? Is it fun? I would say it's a miserable, exhausting march that will push you to the brink of your fatigue. So probably not, because it's just like rock climbing, hiking long distances, marathons, cycling, going 12 rounds, and boxing, although less chance of brain damage, and depending on what you're smoking or drinking. So the rule is pretty simple. Do it only if you have no other choice and you love it. And I have to tell you this, I love it. And that is the key factor for me. And so I would say if you love it and the thought of those things, but I'm not somebody who goes hunting and puts a hide up in a tree and will sit there for days. I'm not a wildlife photographer, none of those things, but this is where I can work until I fall over. And that's when you should do comics. That's when you should do it. Oh, Antoine Dennison meeting Big George Foreman and Hector Camacho. And I have to tell you something. I don't know if you heard the news. You might have. They just recently finally caught and brought to justice Hector Camacho's killers. So yeah, it was a tough. He got into drugs and all that stuff. But you may not know this. But on my mother's side, the Puerto Rican fourth, the maiden name is Camacho. So there you go. I am part Camacho. So it's it was at least, listen, when people start getting into those situations, it's tough. And a lot of former fighters, have a tough path after retirement and all of that. But I'm sure for his family, it's a tremendous relief to finally have some, justice in terms of finding out what happened and who did it. That's the stuff that is nice to know for the family's sake. You know what I mean? Instead of them having to wonder constantly, what happened, so it's great to see that kind of stuff finally, get some resolution for the family. Let's see here. And okay, well, let me catch up. Gosh, the chat's jumping. You are 100% macho. Hey, listen, I'm a fourth Camacho and probably 100% macho. I'd agree with that. Let's see here. American Comics Company, you should do a Slap Mountain stream on my live stream. That's absolutely outstanding. What if you are good at everything and art is the only thing that challenges you? Only do for me. What challenges me is, I don't know. What challenges me the most? I can't. I will get in trouble if I say that. So let me think of something else. Actually, I'll say it real quick. Nobody's here. Sitting through a school recital challenges me. That having been said, I don't know if that's what drives me to do something for a living. What really drives me is something that is grueling hard work that I have the discipline and drive to just keep getting up and doing. That's the biggest things. Hey, what's up, Jordan? Hails and hellos to you, my friend. Let me see. Gosh. Sorry. A lot of concept art is samey. Making unique art is going to hold fast. And moving comics in your unique world, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that it's hard to make artwork that people look at. John's saying, hey, John, what's up? But where else can you meet all these fun, crazy people? I would agree with that 100%. I'm not a Camacho, just a regular old macho. Hey, listen, you are welcome in the Waffle Lodge either way. And guys, check out some of those fine comics we've got in the description there, by the way. And let's get the word out about Michael's comic while he's down. You know how it is. Angela Curry, hiya. Let's see. Skip Edwards Art. Hey, John. Everybody's saying their hellos. Happy birthdays. Look at this. What a great place. Maybe Human is here. It's good to see you, Maybe Human. Let's see here. At Jonathan Jetty Macho Painter. That's right. Okay, it says happy birthday. Happy birthday. Yes, I get it. Good morning, chat. And Sean, good morning to you, Teflon Ron. Hi, John. How is it? From Drawn Sword Graphics. Good to see you here. American Comics Company. Some of them were pretty funny, like the ring girl running off from the cops. Yeah, that's pretty rough. A little. Yeah, those are some intense things. How's your father? School recitals. You know what I'm talking about, man. That stuff will wear your soul down. Bless you. Sitting through anything is difficult. It's true. Wow. Thank you, John. Thank you for remembering. Everybody's saying hello. What are we painting here? I'm just doing some figure painting. Just getting in some painting. I pace. I felt like too much energy. That's right. Can't dodge the lodge. Absolutely, Lord Ravener. It's good to see you, my friend. All we need are waffles and coffee. That's right. And I need to have some coffee in a second. John, always good to see you. Stephen Rockwood. It's very difficult for me not to say hello to the chat. Like when I see comments, guys, it is what it is. Band recitals are harder than dance or choir. I would agree with that too. Yeah, I think, and you know, the person it's hardest on is usually, and not even usually, is the band director. God bless those people. Anybody who teaches band, anybody who, and I mean, I go, and forgive me for saying this. I'm not saying that being a chorus teacher is a piece of cake, but to me, teaching or doing dance recitals and teaching dance and teaching band is got to be just one of the more frustrating and challenging jobs. And anybody who is a band teacher, married to a band teacher, has a parent who used to be a band teacher, hats off to them in terms of putting those recitals on. Same thing for dance teachers and chorus teachers and all that stuff. And I think also the people that I really admire in this day and age, teacher wise, is math teachers, because we need more of those. And I think they do great work with the kids, and it's hard to get kids interested unless they're naturally already interested in math. And I think that, you know, there's a lot of teachers doing some really great work with teaching math. And so, yeah, hats off to you guys out there who are working hard. But, you know, I mean, it's like, I've been thinking a lot lately, outside of even things like teaching. I've been thinking just a lot lately of just how much I appreciate everybody doing their job out there, guys. All of you guys at the end of the day with work, it's not just about triangle equals cowbell. You're right. Very well said. It's like herding cats or paint. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Our band director kept alcohol in his desk. Everyone knew and understood. Yeah, it's one of those things to where you're like, are you keeping alcohol in your desk? And the band teacher's like, no. And it's like, well, would you like me to get you some? I mean, how are you doing this? It's exhausting. Yeah, best instrument band is a triangle. That's right. Fellas, find yourself a girl who played the flute in music class. You know, I mean, I'm trying to think of why that would be, Jordan. Let's see here. Well, if you're starting with booty, you could call. Oh, come on now. Listen, if they start trying to judge the average age in CG by the kind of jokes we tell, they're going to settle on an average age of 150. You guys do know that. Like, that is where we are leading them at this point. There we go. That's a little bit better. And so let me see here. Now I'm going to take this green that I'm sort of putting into the ground and just sort of play around with pulling out some highlights with it and kind of moving into the figure, because sometimes I like to kind of break things up a little bit in figure painting and see if I can, you know, just give it a little bit less of a compartmentalized feel to the art. There we go. And I love, this is the thing about it. If anybody is, you know, wondering about my trajectory with paint and color, I will tell you this. if I have any skill at this at all, it's not because it's because I wanted to get better at it, but I loved to draw, but I hated color theory and painting. I was so terrible at it. So it really is about, just doing hard work and also learning from the best sources you can find. And I think sometimes that there's a lot of people who I always tell this story that that when I was growing up, the Y had all these different level swimming classes. I love this story. And one of the classes was swimming for beginners. The other class was, swimming 1 or something, and then swimming 2, and then advanced swimming, and all these different names. And then they had this one class, and I admire them for naming it this because it lets everybody who needs to take this class know this is the class for them. And the class was called Terrified of the Water. And I absolutely love that class. And I always feel like there should be a class called Terrified of Color and Painting, because that's huge, It's like Jordan say, I'm 100 in spirit. But no, I'm 27. I was raised on the 80s and 90s. It's all right. Your secret is safe with me. They're always trying to get Willie Pep's movie. Yeah. They're always trying. Sorry, they're still trying to get Willie Pep's movie. I mean, seriously, what an amazing fighter. That many fights, not counting the nearly 250 pro wins, is a bit of a long screen time, all laid out in full. Yeah, I don't know how you do that, but there definitely needs to be a documentary. That's for sure. I actually dated a Korean girl who played flute in high school. It was a long time ago. There you go. See, people are sharing that dreams do come true. Booty Call, that's the name of my upcoming comic. Listen, I hope that it is absolutely spectacular, man. Let's see. Average age of 150. I'll be there in about 3 weeks. I know. I'm feeling it too, KSS. We're in that kind of thing. Advanced drowning. Yeah, that's exactly. God, the chat is hilarious, man. Are you looking at a naked lady to draw this or doing it from memory? Do it from memory, but yeah, there's a lot of memory there. So let's see. Swimming for beginners, no need to drown. Yeah. Like for me, I have certain things, certain angles and certain things I try to figure out. And I've been painting so much that when I paint, this is not even, this is what it is. If I were painting a figure from reference right now, this stream would get struck. So I'm just got to keep it loose and sketchy. If you go to my website, you can see some of the figure paintings that I've done from reference. I think there's 1 or 2 up there, but yeah, it's like, like I'll do a portrait of somebody and then Facebook will go, we'll say something like, oh, is this, a photo of this person here? And you just go, oh, crap. Like it's AI, man. But it's so, yeah, I always I know that the AI of Facebook Facebook, YouTube, and anything else will give me trouble if I paint too accurately certain things. And so, yeah, especially a torso, it's like, good luck. I don't know. I mean, Michael gets away with it. I saw him drawing some interesting things on stream, and so maybe it's just not equal opportunity. I don't know what's going on these days. All right, so now let me show you a little bit about what I was talking about with just grabbing a CAD red here, and let's see here. There we go. I'm going to go in and just drop a really deliberately intense red in there in the shadows, especially because I've got this green on the far side. And that red, as it mixes in with the ground and that gray, is going to dull a little bit, but it's going to give us a really interesting sort of effect of that subsurface scattering that happens when light kind of goes through flesh tone, or I should say skin and muscle and all of that stuff. And so if you have your grayer values set up first, it makes it a lot easier when you go into the shadows with the warms to kind of make that believability a little bit better. That's why so many people's flesh tone, it's like really hard at first to learn. And sometimes people give you bad advice, but why it looks dead. So what kind of paint is this? How's your father saying? This is Pelican Pan opaque watercolors. And this is the 24 color set. And they're about $20 for the whole set. And they're opaque watercolors, so you can get a little bit thicker with them. And then I've just got a tube of Winsor Newton zinc white gouache. And that is all you really need to get yourself started painting. And it's just a great material. Can't overstate how fun it is to use this kind of stuff. And I think, again, I know where I was going with that terrified of the water thing. So most people I know, and most people who have had bad experiences with water, it takes them a lot longer to get comfortable in the water because that first bad experience is really, really affecting. And so I always say to people that the same thing is true with painting, believe it or not. You have a bad painting experience and you start thinking, I can't paint. Hang on a second. I got to get some lights on in here. Give me 1 minute, guys. I'm going to move my desk. Let's get some light going in here. 1 sec. Hopefully I won't kick this over. I was sitting here painting in the dark, and I think this might affect your experience a little bit if I get some more light. Maybe it won't. We'll find out in a minute. But let's sort of see how this adjusts here. And then let me see here. Adjust that. Actually, let me turn up my brightness too, because I can't even see my screen. There we go. And then we'll move that over there. That light up there. There we go. That's getting a little, I don't know if that's better or not. We'll see. Let me see here. Yeah. Gouache. Yeah. Gouache. Zinc white gouache. And then let's see. How old is chat for real? I don't know. Let's see here. It's like great laugh out. Maybe a human I do. Let's see here. Shout, do you ever have any happy? Yeah, all the time. Absolutely, I do. Yeah. How come nobody is talking about Waffle House hash browns? I don't know. I think it's you got to educate the people here, Skip Edwards. I mean, that's the reality of it. You know, it's you got to educate the people because people sometimes are ignorant to the importance of hash browns. I love that light diffusion effect on skin makes figures in art feel real and alive. I absolutely agree with that. John is saying, Jordan Hurst, that's what I was thinking. But as a non-artist, I still struggle with Anna, that Star Wars girl. Resistance to the word talent. Yeah, I know. Talented. Yeah, I think that I understand it. I understand Anna's take on that. Because I think that, how do I word it? It's not that there's anything wrong with the word. It's how the word has been used by people to claim some predetermined genius, but then not do any work to improve. So they say I'm a genius, it's a talent, what I can do, when in reality it's a scam. So that word got mixed in with a bunch of other stuff. And those of us who are just sort of quiet, soldiers of painting and art, we just work through, and that's what it is. A little bit of coffee never hurt anybody except for people it hurt. Let's see here. I've always preferred a drawing with digital tool over paint with a brush. That is perfectly fine. Yeah, I mean, some people do. It's an acceptable way to go about life for sure. Let's see. Skip Edwards' art almost had Cracker Barrel hash brown casserole tonight. Let me tell you something, people. I must go out into the Cracker Barrel and get some country fried steak because I'm needing some country fried steak right now. Chicken fried steak at the Cracker Barrel, I believe. I miss it, and I need it. That's just how it is. Let's get some more. Need some more paint going here. But yeah, I mean, for me, digital and traditional both have their perks. What I would say to somebody is that I think that it would be great for people who want to learn traditional to learn it. But if you want to learn traditional, here's the thing I would say. If you've had a bad experience with it, you have to have a good teacher, or else it's going to be another bad experience and you're going to feel like it's hopeless. And I think that that's the biggest, thing about it is it's very, very hard to find good teachers, and good teachers are usually incredibly busy. And then, you kind of like, well, who do I go to? So someone will go, this book is great. This book is amazing. It'll change your life. And then you get a hold of a book and you feel like there's like 4 or 5 books that you've missed. And that's one of the things I often say is that I think that learning digital is a lot more user-friendly. There's a lot more tutorials. A lot of people are much more native. They have this feeling that you can't make a mistake in it, which is, as you know, not true. It's like, you could make mistakes in any kind of artwork. It's knowing, what to do and how to, make the work stronger. But I think that, traditional, if you have a bad experience with traditional, it's very hard to get comfortable with it. Very hard to get comfortable with it. There we go. But yeah, what I would tell anybody to do is that it's the same issue a lot of people run into in when they're using digital and they're using Photoshop, which is if you're using whoops, camera's off there. If you're using digital, let me see here. Whoa, gosh, I had to scroll back up here. I think some people are genetically people my age who are. Oh, I just turned 44. Hey, happy birthday to you, my friend. A little bit late, but my girlfriend turned 30 a few weeks before. Like to think I steal her youth and she gains mine. It's a balance. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not that old, but people my age, I know people my age who are, I totally agree. I think some people are genetically gifted and you're absolutely right to be good at certain things. That being said, practice makes perfect. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I think the old adage is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Anders Ericsson's written the definitive book on all that stuff, and he would give you an answer that you're absolutely happy with, where he talks about the idea that the myth that if anybody puts in a ton of hours doing something that they're going to be just as good as somebody else who puts in a ton of hours on it is absolutely, it's not backed up by evidence or any research. But what is backed up is that if you have a talent and you do, nothing with it, and there's actually some really great examples in his research, it's will have the same appearance as somebody who didn't have that talent at all. And the only way you can really get anywhere with it is to try and fail. One time, I mean, and I sort of feel like I almost don't want to do it because it's such a cliche. For me, at least, I'm like, eh. But I could try out a whole stack or actually not a whole stack because I don't have most of them. I don't have most of my old art, but I could definitely take out a bunch of rejection letters from Marvel or DC Comics and all of the times I sent work off and all of the close calls I had with, getting an offer and everything like that. And the only reason that anybody would keep doing this stuff for their whole life is that they don't have a choice not to do it. But I've always had a knack for, teaching. I came into that. I don't think I worked hard at that career, to be sure. But I came in and I was, my classes were filling up and all of that stuff. That was probably the least amount I've worked to be successful in something. But I think that the bureaucratic stuff and all that other stuff, that's the grind. Like that's the stuff that wears you down over time. And all of the, it is a job. Shocker. And that's the thing that unfortunately, most people with any level of skill will get burnt out by the constant bureaucracy or bureaucratic attempt to interfere with how you actually teach. So you find yourself in meetings for committees and things like that for people who come up with these big schemes for how they think the school should work, and then they leave and take another job somewhere else the next year, and you're like, well, we're stuck with your dumb scheme. But everybody has had that happen at their job. You just kind of go, oh, that's great. Thanks for coming up with a dumb idea and then leaving us with this. Yeah, no, it's Country Fried. I agree with you at the Cracker Barrel. Thank God. I'm glad I agree with the Cracker Barrel as well. Grandpa's Country Fried Steak breakfast tonight. Oh, God, I love Country Fried Steak. People don't even understand. I would drink a tall glass of white gravy at the drop of a hat, and I'd drop it myself. I got stuck in pencil and ink for years because it's cheaper to print. But painting, I'm yet to pour into much more. Yeah, that's true. Angela Curry, none in Washington, was it? We're talking about country fried steak. Y'all making me hungry. I agree. Let's see here. I'm like the Hulk. I stay hungry. That's my secret, Cap. I'm always hungry. That would have been a better line. Hey, what's up, Dan Lawless? My brother from Grosse Pointe. It's good to see you. Nothing much. Martinis and skirts. That's what I would say, according to Captain Picard in Star Trek First Contact when he's on the holodeck. There you go. Angela Curry, KSSS, you really did just have a birthday? I'm confused. Yeah, see, guys, this is the problem. I don't know if you guys read that old story, The Boy Who Cried Birthday. It's one of those things. All right, Jordan says, it can be difficult to discover what you're good. Yeah, amen. It's like walking in the dark and having to choose from multiple forks in the road. Yeah, here's the best thing I will tell you about that whole thing. And this is the God's honest truth as far as I know. Or I should say it's my truth. I don't think God wants to take credit for any of this stuff. But I will tell you this, is that the best thing in the world you can do is to try really hard to do something, fail at it, and like really hard, like take feedback. I don't mean like, and you guys all know this. I'm not telling you, I'm not trying to be senpai here, but I think a lot of people don't, like, I know this is true for myself, don't look at like the raw reality of it. Do you know what I mean? Of how certain careers work and how certain things go. And I remember saying to myself, I'm like, at various times in my career, I said, I'm really good at teaching. When students have me, they learn how to paint, they do all this great stuff. And it took me a very long time to realize that in all the environments I was in, that wasn't the priority. The priority was committee work, curriculum writing, all of this other stuff that oftentimes would make students have to take all of these different classes and things like that, and would not improve people's painting ability or drawing ability. So I wanted to teach art, and I realized that in the art, in the academic industry, it was about meetings. So there you go. Angela, and so I had to acknowledge to myself, I'm not really good at, in some ways, and I don't enjoy. I hate it, but I'm not, like, if I was going to be good at this job, I'd have to love sitting on panels and meetings more than I do. I want to be with students and teach people how to draw and paint. Angela Curry, well, it feels recent. It was at the end of December. But yeah, no, hey, listen, that is recent to me, man. When I say, the other day, that could mean 4 years ago, or it could mean yesterday with me. Like Christopher Walken said, as Bruce Dickinson, easy guys. I put my pants on just like the rest of you, one leg at a time. Except when my pants are on, I make gold records. Yeah, Bruce Dickinson, never forget. Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell. Absolutely right. How to Draw Comics by Dan Lawless. G'day, man. Yeah, we got to love Dan Lawless, man. You're crushing it with your stuff, dude. I love your work. And I got to have you. I'll send you a link if you want to come on. It might be, you got to be going to bed soon, though. Is it late there? I don't know what time. It's 2 there, but I don't know. You have hours like I have. It's March 19th. Happy birthday, Wyatt Earp. That's right. Happy birthday, Wyatt. Wyatt. I love Doc Holliday saying Wyatt. John, hardly any chains at here, really. It looks like there is one in Portland. Oh, yeah. There you go. It's rough, man. Portland and in Idaho. There you have it. Jonathan Jetty, I had my birthday chicken fried steak at Saltgrass Restaurant in Lubbock, Texas. My goodness. Now, do you live in Texas, Apex Comics? I think you've mentioned this before. Do you live in Lubbock, or do you live like in Dallas, Fort Worth area? I don't know. Yeah, everybody's saying hi. Dan Lawless is saying hi. Drawn Sword Graphics. Hi, John. Falling on your face super hard can be a good thing. It absolutely can. Jonathan Jetty Art, live every day as if it's your last, and every day as your birthday. In Comicsgate, every day is your birthday. I agree with that 100%. Yeah, time goes by so fast. You're absolutely right. If you learn it, learn from it. Otherwise, it's just painful. Yeah, I've heard that one. How to Draw Comics, Dan Lawless. Yeah, RB, brother. You were good at the job. The job wasn't for you. No, hey, listen. And listen, dude, I will tell you this right now, period. To all you, I got about 45 minutes. Do you want to pop on for 45? Let me know. I'll send you the link, man. Just let me know if you want to. I'll send you the link if you want to pop on and say hey. But yeah, let's see here. Whoa, I missed something here. Angela Curry, sorry to hear. Whoa, let me see here. Is that Pitt behind you, Sean? No, that's not Pitt. That is the Gray Hulk, as based on Todd McFarlane stuff. Angela Curry. Oh, I'm guessing that's about the chicken fried or country fried steak. John, something I look forward to when I get back to Ohio. There you go. Yeah, all right, cool. I'm going to send Dan Lawless a link. Just wondering, has anyone ever watched a live stream and forgot that it was live? That just happened to me. Seriously? I when I say seriously, I mean that happens to me all the time. I've actually watched a live stream that I'm doing and felt like I was watching the stream and then forgot I had to say something. But then, you have those senior moments. Let me see if I can find Dan here. Dan, hold tight. You've got a geriatric artist trying to locate things in this new technological world here. Gotta love Dan. And let me see here. I think this is the right link. Hopefully it's not porn, Dan. I apologize if it is, but you never know. There you go. Nice. Bob Evans. Isn't Bob Evans from Ohio? God, why are we talking about breakfast foods? Guys, if I could eat one meal, several times a day, it would be breakfast. Breakfast anytime are the two best words to see anywhere. Period. Yeah, Jeremy Burtz. Yeah, it's good to see you guys. I breakfast anytime. Those are the two best words in the English language. Period. I tell you guys, listen. There's not a lot of us here. I feel like I can confess this to you guys. McDonald's breakfast, I loved it. I loved McDonald's breakfast. I have a restraining order against it. I wish I knew how to quit it, but I don't. McDonald's breakfast is good stuff, guys. I love that kind of stuff. I grew up on all that kind of food and, burgers and fried food and all that sort of stuff. But, there are some people in my family, like the missus, who seem hell-bent on trying to keep me alive. I don't know exactly what their problem is. I'm just trying to enjoy myself. It looks like we have a guest here. Let's see what is up here. Let me add you to the stream. What is up, brother? How you doing?
Great. How are you, man?
Oh, it's just great, man. I've just been painting and sort of taking some time to kind of just sketch a little bit. I've been sort of hitting it hard with the comic and with editing videos and all of that stuff, man. And it's been crazy. It's been absolutely crazy. How are things with you?
Good, except I'm not working on fun stuff right now. This is pay the bill stuff.
Hey, that stuff is important and beautiful stuff too.
I'm trying to make the transition, from the advertising to comics, but it's hard to beat those, the numbers and stuff like that when you're.
Heck yeah.
The comic book numbers are not there for me yet. I think they'll get there if I get going.
But they will.
But right now I have to, you just got to do the stuff that pays,
Yeah, man. Well, that's what's so funny is that it's like I always say this is that comics are we've talked about this before. I think we talked about this last stream. You love comics. The only reason that anybody does the comic book stuff is because they love it. But one of the coolest things about CG is that we've got, a backer base, customer base, everything you want to describe, who understands the fact that it's these stories of creators and what they go through, and particularly at the tail end of their lives and their careers. Those stories don't happen by accident. They happen by the fact that people get, people bond with a brand or a character that they soon will get kicked off of. And for us, I look at certain artists and creators who've created something, even if it's not some huge mega success, if they own that, they have longevity in their career in a way that's so much more stable. And Billy Tucci has been someone I really admire about that, man.
Oh yeah,
that guy's amazing.
Yeah, he from the start, he's one of the pioneers. So
yeah,
it's like this business model that's approaching us now is a result of him and Brian Pluto and the couple of brave guys, even the Image guys. They had the courage. I mean, that took a lot of courage, really, to break away from the big ones with that, because those guys were doing all right. They could have kept doing that. They could have kept getting those paychecks, and they weren't bad. They've been just fine. But to drop all that and have confidence in yourself like they did to start their own companies was pretty remarkable. I didn't have that. I didn't have the guts to do that.
Do you want to hear a great, embarrassing Shanth story about Brian Pulido?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
This is great. Do you want to? I'm going to throw somebody under the. It's me. I'm throwing myself under the bus.
Yeah. Well,
So
keep in
when
mind
I
when you're
was in-
talking to me, you know that I've done plenty of stupid, embarrassing things in my
oh,
life.
but this
So,
is this one
I mean,
is
I
this
am the
one
king
is
of it. So
this one is
anything you say, I'll probably
sadly.
could outdo it.
Yeah, well, listen. If we're going full tilt, stupid. I will see you and raise you. But let's stay off of that track right
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
It's like that'll take me
Yeah.
back to like being 11 and ashing my cigarette in a convenience store trash can. There's stuff
Oh
that
yeah.
goes
Yeah.
wildly wrong. But
Oh
the thing
yeah.
I would say about it for me is when I was in college, and guys, please listen to this stuff because this is the good stuff. Like this is the real stuff people need to talk about, and it's really affects the way I look at the internet now. Like I think, oh, thank God I didn't have the internet or Twitter or anything
Oh
when
my
I was
God.
younger. But
Well, here's what I
I
think
mean,
is,
go
Chance,
ahead.
how can anybody run for office anymore? Like, what, you know
Can't.
how they tear you apart if you run for office. Can you imagine
Yes.
everybody's going to have something stupid on
Mhm.
video of them doing, and it's going to be a shame fest. Like
Mhm.
only some sort of perfect angel is going to be, and I don't even know. I don't want to meet them. You know,
I
they're
think the
going
people
to
we're
be
going to try to
electable.
elect in the future are going to be people who are just not actively doing it in office, like taking naked photos of themselves in their polyamorous relationship while taking hits from a bong. We have a pretty low bar, but some people still can't clear it.
Yeah,
But when I was in college, everything was so art, and this is the genius, and this is this is what art's about, and we look down our nose at people who don't have some auteur, crazy theory to their stuff. So I was at a convention showing artwork, and I showed my artwork to Brian Polito, and this isn't anything that I said. It wasn't anything I did. It was what I thought that I'm embarrassed about or I get angry about. Is I go to show my portfolio and Brian Polito's like, your stuff is interesting, but it's like it got to be more dynamic, man. I mean, these are nice drawings, but they got to be. And I don't even know if they were nice drawings at that point. But he's like, but you got to do. And he put one leg up on the coffee, on the table there with a folding table, and he was like, got to be like this. You got to make your stuff more like this. And I was looking at him with my smug college mind, and I was like, going, this guy is a fucking idiot. Is what I thought at the time. Like I was like, I am such an artistic genius. What does this guy mean like this? What now? That's something I could have told you I knew naturally when I was 17, 18. That's what I bought comics for, right? And
yeah.
and then cut to a couple, not even a couple of years, a year or so ago, he did a video called God, what was it called? Guys, do you guys know this one? It was a rallying cry for independence, and it was like oh God, I forget what it was called. I gotta look it up now. This is gonna drive me crazy. Anyway, I listened to it and I was like, this guy is a genius. I was the effing idiot back then. Like, this is a person who colleges teach you to hate industrious, passionate people who actually get stuff done, and certainly my college did. And I see it as sort of one of those moments that really kind of calls forth and puts, actually I can't find this thing, but that really calls forth that whole that whole awareness of how much people try to undermine people who actually accomplish things. And I admire Brian Polito tremendously now, and I must have watched that video 1,000 times of his,
Yeah.
1,000 times, because it's the best advice ever. And so when I saw once I got out of when academia, I was on my way out before and I was in CG as a backer and doing videos and stuff for Ethan and all that stuff. But I remember saying to myself, I am never going to listen to that kind of stupid advice again. When someone is talking to you, and they're very well said there, speaking truth. It's absolutely true. When you run into, I know, I've been hearing all about that, right? Let me see here. Very true. Let's see. Very true. I miss Allie's face these days. I hope she fixes her camera soon. There you go. Angela Curry. Yeah. So, I mean, for me, I don't know if you had moments where if you went to a college or had an experience where they taught you how to think you were great without having accomplished much. But
Hey,
I mean,
I remember just they got the iPhones now. It's like I remember just having the VHS big ass videotape machine, And
yeah.
I did some really stupid stuff on that would be highly embarrassing. You know,
Yeah.
I buried those tapes. Those are gone. But,
Yeah.
but just stupid things like reenacting Star Trek 2, that kind of stuff,
Yeah, those
The
are things that will
Wrath of Khan,
definitely keep you out of the White House. No, no, it's like, but you know what's
It
sort of funny is,
wasn't like wrong. It was just really, really stupid, amateur nonsense, something
yeah,
a
but
couple morons would do,
the bar has been raised, my friend. Like, I don't know if I think that there's this this escalation that seems to be happening when it comes to what people define as really embarrassing is. And so
Yeah,
I don't
yeah, that's
know
right.
if,
Maybe the bar's going to lower quite a bit, probably, right?
yeah, I mean, or higher, depending on which way you're looking at it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's like you would have, like, there's things that people do that you just go, I cannot believe this actually happens. That's what makes it so funny. And when I think about, having those moments where you're talking to somebody who has experience in a field, and how anti-experience a lot of education is. That's the thing that it still kind of shocks me, that people haven't. It's like, if you want to know how to do something, ask somebody who's doing it. It's that simple. And so when you're doing your work in advertising, I mean, I could be wrong, but I imagine you have a lot of experience.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So can I tell you how your field works? I have this degree from this place that taught me that I have more experience just by not having experience. You tell me to get wrecked. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I
it's
started out, like,
crazy.
I mean, a lot of these, actually, when I was in art school, a lot of the teachers were professional artists.
Mm,
So
the
they
glory
were
days.
they weren't just teaching; they were making a living from it. So I got to
Yeah,
see the guys who were actually, the real pros.
but where
It was
did
a
you
good
go to
school.
school?
Well, it's called College for Creative Studies now, but it was Center for
Yeah,
Creative
you don't
Studies at the
count.
time,
No, you don't
and
count.
it
That's the
was a
best
really,
school
really
I've
good
ever
school.
seen. It makes no sense. Listen, I was looking at that college's curriculum recently. And if you guys don't know the College of Creative Studies, this was my last year there. And I was looking at my faculty, Dan, just so you know where I'm coming from. And I was going, why aren't we doing this? That's what I said over and over and over again at faculty meetings.
You were pointing out what they were doing at the College for Creative Studies and saying that, or
Yes.
okay, yeah. Well, they've been pretty well, like for the automotive
I just
program. I mean, you could.
was. Yeah. Does that
It
surprise
was
you?
it was a challenge. I mean, they were on par with the Art Center out in California. They at the time that was the other big art school,
Mhm.
and so if you got through the program there at CCS or at Art Center, you could walk into the automotive programs, automotive companies. They pretty much picked you off the wall when you're
Mhm.
on your senior showing, so to speak. It's a
Didn't
little bit
Doug
different
Chang
for
go there too?
illustrators, but
There was a few
what's it?
people who went there who were huge in the industry, right?
Yeah, yeah, they're
I mean, more than a few. I say
yeah,
that tongue in cheek.
because Detroit was the auto center, and so the most of the illustrators did actually come from the Detroit area. So
Mhm. But their
yeah,
curriculum is still amazing. When I look at it, it's still great.
yeah, it's
I mean,
I've
I was
actually I
looking at
don't
their
really know
catalog, and
honestly, but yeah, but I wasn't in
so
the fine art department. I was in the illustrative, and so I didn't get too much of that stuff that that the fine art people did. The kind of like looking down on the commercial artists. I was working in the commercial art classes and stuff. So
yes, the illustration departments at all the other colleges these days are the fine art department, unfortunately. And it was
um,
true at Rhode Island School of Design. It's very true there, where I taught for 15 years, and it's true at every college. They push out the commercial from commercial art. It's incredible, and I don't know how to even explain it or how to justify it. It seems completely mad to me, but they do. And I looked at
right.
that curriculum and I was like going, "Oh, really? Like how to actually draw things that look like things?" I had to learn all that stuff on my own. Isn't
Now,
that wild?
when you were in art school, did you was even digital around? It wasn't for me.
It wasn't
But
around for me. It was just starting to come in. I had no digital classes when
yeah,
I
neither
was
did I.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
kind of
was
funny because
just
I saw someone in the chat saying did you how is it learning the paint and stuff like that? It's like back then, that's all we had was paint. There was nothing else. Try doing some. When you want to do it, like now you do it in Photoshop. You take your layer and just make a nice soft thing. Not in the old days, you had to cut out a plastic frisket for that area, and then spray your paint, then peel up the plastic frisket. It was such a laborious, pain in the butt production. Unbelievably hard.
Yeah, when you come out of that background, it's like it's basically like being, John Carter of Mars. You land in this digital world and you're like going, I can throw mountains now.
Yeah.
Like I just move that.
It's so easy.
Using Adobe Illustrator and vector-based stuff, you're just like going, what do you mean I can scale it up infinitely?
I can do I can do a pretty decent painting in a couple of days or even a day, It's like it's insane. You can slap stuff together. Totally if you don't do too much detail and complications. But
yeah, I mean, I love working in digital. I love working in traditional, and I think that the thing for me about that I always look at places for their curriculum, and I look at places for any book I buy, any comics. Like this is the thing about Comicsgate, right? If someone was asking me, oh, so hey, where do you want to be doing your comic book work? Where do you want to go? I would never think about, I've never been into brands. I don't care for brands like, college brands, comic book company brands. That's what made Image. That's what made even Mirage Comics, Pacific Comics, all those places. Interesting to me was who they had working there and, what the books looked like. But I've never been into that kind of stuff. So I would just look at Comicsgate and then look at the roster and I'd see Kenneth Rocafort. I mean, we were talking about that in the chat earlier today. And I'd go, okay, this is where you want to be. This is where the stuff is, man.
I came into this movement too late. I wanted to back that book. When I saw it, I thought this is really good looking. And now I'm seeing people post some of the interior shots of it. Man, is it good looking. It's really good. I'm so bummed. I got to get a copy somehow,
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be selling some at a convention coming up.
Yep, that's what he said. He's going to be in Canada or something like that.
He'll probably hook you up, man. Let me see. How is my son doing? Speaking of digital, how is my son doing with his job? He is doing great. Actually, his boss was in the chat the other night, funny enough. But yeah, my wife came down. My son is doing Blender artwork and doing 3D modeling professionally now for a job, like historical, like recreations of like battleship things and all that kind of stuff. He's 16 now. So he's just turned 16 this past year, in October. And my wife came down and goes, they've got him doing animation. He's teaching himself how to do animation. And I was like, and you think I'm sending him to college? I was like, no, it's not happening. It's like, unless he wants to go desperately, he has some master plan. Unless it's unless it's your alma mater, I'm not sending him anywhere.
Yeah. Well, if he can get a job just as an intern in any of these animation places, he'll learn so much faster, and he'll in a couple of months he'll know what he learned in a couple of years, at the art school.
Well, that's what's so scary about it. He's not an intern. He's a freelancer.
Okay.
He's got his hourly day. He's got his day rate already. And all we did was, it's like, he sort of was like me. He was just doing a lot of insane, stuff early as a kid. And we just were like going, well, here's Blender. I knew enough about stuff to go, here's Blender. It's a free software. See if you like it. He started coding and putting things in games, when he was like 14 or 15. And for flight simulator games, he would build aircrafts in Blender, then he would code them and make it so they could animate. We were just like, what? And so that's been kind of my experience with him. So it's very strange, but I would have loved to have sat down.
Remember for us how fearless we were with jumping into paint and drawing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
When you're young, you just tackle whatever's in front of you. So that's what these guys know.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, it's like, let me make sure I catch all this stuff here. Gosh, my childhood friends went to these schools. There you go. God, I love our chat. Historically, fine art was the commercial art of its days. Actually, here's the thing I would say, guys, if I could give you, if there's one art history book you ever read, and it's been out of print since the 1970s, you can find it though. It's easy. It's called the Unchanging Arts, and it makes the case and that the artwork that we look at from the past was, of course, all technically what they call commercial, but it was they refer to it as the low arts, the high arts, and then the what they refer to fine art as being is the decadent arts. And what they basically say is that high arts were essentially any low art, all art served a function, and any art that attained this level of incredible genius, that rare genius that artists have for making great work. And I would include Frazetta or somebody like that in it. That's what rises to the level of what was called high arts back then, or Howard Pyle or anybody like that. But what fine arts are is a period of decadent thinking that happens in late societies, and it's a kind of corruption and decay of what non-functional art. And so I always say that it was the craft, it was the skill, it was the purpose-serving function of its day. So you're right with the commercial art thing, but I want to make sure we start talking about the idea at some point of the decadent arts instead of calling them fine arts.
Hey, I think anytime you're working for, you're getting money and paid for something, that's your business. That's your commercial business.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's just, one is selling snake oil and one is selling actual something else.
Some
it's
crap you see. Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah. And so Jordan is saying, when I was younger, I learned physical mediums. It was difficult to get used to. Digital, so many options. Odd feeling of plastic pen on screen versus pencil on paper. Absolutely right. Dang, Mirage, haven't heard that in a while. Yeah, and I know what you mean. Yeah, Mirage, back in the day, man. I love that stuff. Yeah, my kids are teaching me computer stuff. That's how it works. And, this is the thing too, right? Is that to get to a level of any kind of proficiency where people are going to want to pay you for your work. And thank you guys so much for backing our books and supporting our books here. It's like you have to be on such a level just to be competent enough to make that happen. And, it's like the big thing people need to, or people don't need to understand this, but the big thing that you were just talking about is that comics, because comics, the audience has shrunk so much because of, periods of decadence and, bureaucratic control of these things. But when I say bureaucratic, I don't mean corporate. I don't mean fine art. I mean literally just people who want to meddle with things who don't have any skill. You get what we got right now, which is a small audience. And of course, for something like you're doing, where there's an actual need being served, you're going to get paid more because the need is understood,
Right.
And that's got to be kind of, a little bit heartbreaking for a dyed-in-the-wool comic loving dude from Grosse Pointe.
Comics broke my heart. They certainly did.
Yeah.
Because I really was in there. I wanted to do great, incredible comics. And I just, it was I couldn't get it done in time. It was just a machine, and I wasn't a machine. I wanted to keep getting better and better. You can't kind of get better and just churn it out. I think I after a while, when I got to Dark Horse and I was working on Barbed Wire and Agents of Law, I sort of found a style that I could do faster. I simplified my shapes and stuff and said, okay, this is my style. And that worked. And it looked pretty good too, I think. But still, it's, it wasn't, when I left the industry, I didn't really miss it. It just wasn't, especially the way the art went to the real, away from the traditional, Western art, realistic art like you're doing right here, and to the more stylized, almost cartoony, and even a bit of Japanese anime in it. I just didn't see that as that interesting to me. It didn't, require a tremendous amount of discipline to learn it sometimes, I think, and or at least I didn't think it did. And
I don't think it does from what I've seen. I mean,
yeah.
We're not, this. People like yourself and I have not only we probably looked at Bond SNA, but we've also looked at some of the masters of manga, and I know that a certain member of our community is probably going to show up in chat because I just said the word manga, but it's like a dog whistle, it's like a dinner bell. But when I look at Osamu Tezuka's drawings when he was 10 and 11 of accurate watercolors of butterflies and his backgrounds, the father of modern, or I should say really manga, period. there's this level of study that isn't in the stuff that we talk about. It's not the people always say it, like when people think that manga is big eyes or American comics are all this. B Rose is who I was thinking of in particular. John, you got it great right there, man. But it's really, I love it all. I just want to feel like it's worth, it's worth the money. Like when people get, gosh, I know you know this, and I've been looking at the pages that you're doing, for Two-Fisted Manly Tales, man. That stuff is sick, dude. It's so good.
Thanks.
It's so good. But I look at that stuff and I think, when people plunk down their money to get Nosfero, I want it to be something, that they get pulled into. And we were talking about this the other day, but there was a sequence that's a part of this page that I'm working on. I was working on this the other night, where it's, basically she's meeting, the werewolf that raised this guy, and it's sort of like his father figure, and he wants to have a conversation with her. And she's like, well, a little bit nervous. And he's like, no, it's fine. Like, this is the dude who raised me. You can go off with him. You know what I mean? And there's just these little moments of things where you see their kind of connection, where she's like, I know I'll be fine. And she's like, thank you for saving my life. And you've got this beautiful symbol that's like at the heart of this character and his journey towards good and all these things. And I always said to somebody, if you guys, let me know, for those of you guys who are interested in manga and have read manga, let me tell you something that I have made an assumption about, something I say about manga all the time. The thing that manga is free to do, that American comics are not free to do, is let's see, Raised by the Wolf. The John Man, I'm not even joking. When I came up with that little nugget of the story, that was the first thing I thought of. But manga is freer to use Western and Judeo-Christian symbols as positive symbols in their work than American comics are.
Yeah,
Isn't
well,
that
look at
bizarre?
Hayao Miyazaki. I mean, you look at
Yes.
these films where there's so much British, so much English architecture and settings that they're in. Porco Rosso. Porco Rosso is all, there's nothing Asian in it at all.
Well, but this is the other thing, though, too, is that I'm talking about things like you've got a vampire hunter who's using crosses as a powerful religious symbol to ward off evil, and like literally getting into the scriptural, aspects of the foundations of the Western world and Judeo-Christian religion. And I thought, because there's freedom there. There's freedom there, and they don't have some obnoxious little insert your favorite expletive here going, that's appropriation of American culture.
Now, I think there's good things, good influences from manga, like Akira. Storytelling in Akira is better, I think, than most American. I wish we bring in more of that kind of storytelling, the cinematic, more panels without words, things like that, into the comics, to American comics. But the way our comics are structured with only 20 some pages, you can't do that. There's not enough time. There's not enough pages that you wouldn't get anything told and those stories told. So
yeah, I've with Nosfero, the thing that's really cool that I'm most excited about is I know I've got a story that I can fit into the amount of pages that's reasonable for me to do as a fully painted comic. And I will tell you this, it's I say I love Comicsgate every time we talk, but it's the truth. It's honest to God, the truth is that when I look at the stuff I'm doing, this is going to be, I've done a lot of comic book jobs. This is the first comic book. My first two art books were the most proud I've ever been of anything I've ever done. It's the first time I didn't get my copies of the book sent to me. You know how it is, from the printer or from the publisher. Opened it up and go, God, it's a series of missed opportunities. My first two self-published art books, I was like, these are, like, after the first book, I told my wife, I go, if I drop dead tomorrow after making this book, I can finally say I was happy with something I made. Second art book, it was the same thing. And I thought it was going to change. When I saw the second art book, I was convinced I was going to be like, that was just a one-time thing. With Nosfero, this is the comic book I've wanted to make my entire life and was neither skilled enough nor had the environment that we've created here of people backing and supporting books that we have today. I feel it seriously is a complete and utter blessing. And I thank God for it every single day. It's amazing. You
Hey,
know?
can I ask you just some questions about
Yeah,
what you're
sure,
doing
man. Go
here?
for it.
So when you do a figure, do
Mhm.
you ever do a gesture drawing or do you use
Oh yeah.
reference?
Well, I do all of it. As I was saying to them, if I use reference, what I found is that I will get struck. So
Oh,
if I get too accurate, the stream will get struck, and that's one of those things that can happen. But I usually I usually kind of kit bash some photo reference on occasion when I need to do something complicated. But for the most part, I just sketch out of my head and I sketch super loose. Like I'm trying not to. I won't. Let's see if I can cover up some spoilers here. But I'm not really there. I'm just trying. It's tough. But
hey,
I
like
start with
go back to that other page you had shown me just a while back, and I saw
which
like a
one?
smudge. You with the one with the cross, and yeah, and I see
What
a
this one right
smudge on
here?
the right hand side.
Oh, this
That's
one
your
right here.
pencil. Yeah, that's what your pencil is. You,
Here's the
you
funny story. I penciled this face, and then I
yes.
went to do this one, and I just went straight paint.
Okay. Okay. So
And so
sometimes you do it, sometimes you don't like that
yeah,
pencil.
sometimes I feel like a nut. No, sometimes I don't. No, but it's no, seriously. It's well, what I'm finding is my pencils have become a total crutch for me today. Yeah, absolutely. Mighty Geek Studios, you are today special. Let me tell you. But actually, that probably sounds like we're gonna eat you and we're cannibals. But um, yeah, it's like this. Well, actually, I'll show you what I mean. Like when I'm doing a figure drawing these days, like when I'm working, I'll mix up a little bit of watered down paint here. When I work, I'm typically like, depending on where I'm going, I will start with, you know, something like that. And I just kind of try to find the forms, find like where the rib cage is, like where I'm going to put like the hip bone and things like that. So I typically will start out just doing a series of scribbles, if that makes any kind of sense,
Oh yeah, that's the way I start. Mine are a mess, but
Yeah, I mean, I just and it's funny too because the figure will often, change radically as I work on it. Like I'll just suddenly go, "Oh no, that I want that to go over, that way
right.
a
Yeah.
little bit more." But it's
Hey, you know what?
really go ahead.
Uh, I'll maybe not right now, but I'll do a drawing. I'll do a here on your stream if you want me to. I'll do
Yeah,
a
man.
show you how I do figures and stuff like that too. I think it's fun to see how other people work and how they approach things.
Nobody wants to see Dan Lawless do figure drawing on this stream except for me and everyone else. Um
Hey, someone was asking, I think what you use, and it's gouache, right?
I use Pelican Pan opaque watercolors and white gouache. That's
Okay.
the main thing I use. But I mean, listen, I
What is opaque
and
watercolors then? Wait. What are they? That you said they? What kind of watercolors?
Pelican Pan opaque watercolors. So do you know Japanese poster paint?
Not
Like
really.
the
No.
kind of stuff that like people like Goga Kazuo, Miyazaki's background painter. It's like what they use, that kind of stuff. It's got that kind of consistency.
What's the difference between that and gouache? Because I'm familiar with. I mean, I've painted in gouache and oils and acrylics, but I don't know what you're talking. I don't know about this
It
stuff you're
comes in a
talking about.
pan. It reactivates with water. So it's almost like if you're it's got it's a little bit easier to reliquify, but it's like imagine having a set of dried gouache that you are reactivating with water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let me see here.
Okay.
We've got Wellum 03 is saying, please do not ever, Dan, come on here and sketch. Again, listen, I just read them. I'm not here to put words in people's mouths. Let me see here. Yeah, wrestlers, here we go. We're creating sexy women and worthy men. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so there's a lot of hatred for you coming on. I will defend you and allow it to happen. I
Hey, did
don't
you
know
see
why.
the little figure I drew of Gem Shock for Mandy Summers?
Yes, and I didn't think it was amazing at all. There, I said it. And
That
now
was
that I've
interesting.
gotten that off
You
my
know,
chest.
the funny thing is, how I'm kind of like I go with go straight forward to the color. And usually,
Mhm.
that one was it almost reminds me a little bit of your work where you've got different colors in it that really are more decorative. And I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
because I was just splashing these colors. And I'm like, hey, this looks pretty good. I think I'll just leave it like this.
Let me say this, man. I'm going to tell you this. My studio mate, who is an incredible oil painter, he's a professor who actually has done a ton of stuff, but and was worked in the industry, done Conan stuff, some Star Trek, stuff like cover paintings that are just gorgeous. One of them, I think William Shatner actually wanted to use for the Final Frontier, and just an amazing artist, and done some Conan stuff. I think he did a Conan piece painting for a book cover at some point. And the thing about this guy is, he said to me one time, he came over when we were sharing a studio and we were painting together, and he goes, I hate the way that like I enjoy your stuff, but your color and lighting is bullshit. And I said, ta-da. I'm like, I always joke because it is bullshit and it's fun. But I remember telling him, I go, like, he would look at Frank Frazetta and see the beautiful figure work of Frank Frazetta. And I would look at Frazetta and go, it's so cool to see that planet is literally touching the figures in the foreground.
Yeah.
That there's no harness on those polar bears. Now, I don't set out to do stuff that's, it just sort of happens. That's the best way I can put it. I feel like the Joker.
That's the fascinating thing is that I look at, how I'm kind of approaching it very just a simple, realistic way. I look at your work and I don't understand how you make a selection for color that you do. And I'm like, that's really cool. I think it's really interesting.
I'm fairly certain somebody pressed on my soft spots when I was a newborn, but I appreciate the compliment. No, God knows why I do anything I do. But no, it's I've always, it's like a lot of things. Like I have when I was first doing my stuff, the problem was art school was not great for me, but this is not an art school knock. This is just what it is. There are certain boxers, there are certain fighters who do everything wrong, if that makes sense. Todd McFarlane would be a great example, although not putting myself anywhere within 100 yards of that. And if you try to train them to do it correct, you actually weaken all that's good in their stuff.
Yeah,
and
I could take a McFarlane image, draw it with correct anatomy, and it would lose every bit of its power and charm. There's something about his anatomy. It's wonky, it's wrong, and it's better because of it. It's so strange. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
So I was fascinated by what McFarlane brought to the table. But
I mean, I don't mean to ask you an intimate question at this point, so feel free to not answer if this is too personal, but how do you feel about Ditko?
I love Ditko.
I love Ditko. I think Ditko, God rest him, was such an insanely brilliant genius. Do you know what I mean? And I can't do it.
This is the interesting thing about
it. Bless him.
You might not say he's the greatest artist, but for me, he was, because my first exposure to him was the original Spider-Man's reduced down into a paperback.
Yeah.
And I saw his drawings reduced, way down in size. That means all his line work got more fine, got a little more sophisticated, got a little more, the lines were thinner and stuff. So I think it really looked better. I saw it. I think it was best at that smaller size. Even Kirby, my first exposure to Kirby was the same thing in the paperback, collected edition in a paperback size. And I still have those books, and it looked really, really good. So it's kind of funny with Kirby or even Ditko. When I finally saw them larger on a larger scale, I was like, these don't look as good. Yeah. But then now that I've gotten older, I see now those illustrations in a more pop art kind of way. Like, realize just these guys were the pop artists of the time. And that like Kirby stuff is classic now, and it's just a fun graphic now. I can see what it was beyond just entertainment for kids. It was real art.
Yeah, it's one of those things to where, and for every bit of that, when I just to balance that out, there were those awful moments though when you get, say, the Mark Schultz or Wally Wood artist editions, and you just go, what's the point? For me, at least, I say with love. No, I'm more like I take a bite out of the book, but some work you see it, enormous, and it deepens it. It's the funniest thing. Those guys, when I think of Kirby and all of them, and I think you were telling the story, right, about why the artwork got reduced, if I'm not mistaken, right?
About what?
I feel like you
Or
were
you-
on a stream once where you or someone you were talking to was talking about that the reason why they started drawing comics at 11 by 17 and not the larger size was because they could fit it on the scanner, didn't have to scan it in two parts.
Yeah, there was.
Someone was
I remember. I think I was there, but I wasn't me.
I'm trying to remember who was telling that. Was it Graham? I don't think it was Graham saying that. He could have been.
I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like it's
Oh,
possible.
by the way, I don't know if I mentioned to you before that show you had with Michael Bancroft was incredibly fascinating. I was just blown away by that, including like certain things where you started to realize, oh my gosh, I don't know that many artists in comics because we're much more alike than I realized when you guys mentioned the J.K. Rowling documentary.
Yes.
I was like, when I saw that, I was inspired as an artist. I mean, what she said, just doing this stuff at a coffee shop, and it was so good. And her visions and that she had on the train of the boy walking towards her. If it wasn't for that train ride, she would have never came up with that character. It's fascinating as can be, to me, to see that, to hear those stories,
I tell people this is that, and I love that Aurelius quote. I've got it right here. You should be using this actually to keep my greasy hands off the paper, but I'm just trying to make sure I can paint on screen. But that quote that is, the soul becomes dyed by the color of, or with the color of its thoughts. I always think of that quote. And when you put things like that J.K. Rowling documentary into your head and you see somebody who worked their way up, who is not from the status class, you get this brilliant, kind of gift of knowledge from them. And that's the thing that I think is so important. Yeah, and SDA is saying, I dug that documentary too. It is, guys, it's on YouTube. If you've never seen it, it is worth, every minute of your time.
Is there more than one?
The one I have is the Year in the Life one, and there's another great one that she did where she talks about
years ago. I saw this one originally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this would be 2007 when this one happened, and I think it's the one you and I were talking about, and me and Michael were talking about. But I want to do one of those. Obviously, I want to do one of those with you. If you feel like you want to do a long form interview, I'm game.
I guess, yeah. I don't know.
No, here's the thing.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, is that when you look, when people, the thing that I enjoy doing about that kind of stuff is, there's no strategy, there's no formula. There's just, you've talked to me a lot now. This is all it is. It's like literally all it is. It's just that when we have these conversations, I'll give you an example. There's this guy I never met in my life. He's an artist. He's in Comicsgate. And it turns out that he lived in and grew up in the neighborhood that is the location for the only happy years of my childhood, oddly. And that is the kind of thing that gets exponentially multiplied. Like when we watch the J.K. Rowling thing, the questions that people will ask you things that are great, like what kind of brushes and paints and everything do you use? And we're always going to bring that stuff up. But I had no idea. There was, when Michael was talking about, I knew he had a history in webcomics.
Yeah.
But I did not know that, about the whole, the Wokent being the name of the character. Let's start there. And you get to see the fortuitous nature that nobody just, teleports into one of these situations.
Hey, what if you made that? What if you made that your character, and then things happen as they happen now, and you're just like, shit.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Like, oh, great.
Right.
Like,
well, it's such a funny thing though, right? Because I've been talking to and fortunate enough to talk to and meet so many amazing, people in terms of these conversations. But I love talking to people and getting to know what their interests are. And it's just weird. I don't know how to describe that, but that was one of probably my biggest strengths as a teacher is I could look at somebody and kind of guess what, their what like I would look at somebody and go, this person's artwork isn't working, and I'd go, it's because they're a painter, or it's because they're a graphic designer and nobody's spotting it yet. It was just like reading what people do. And it wasn't like it was. I told my wife, I go, if I was an unscrupulous jerk, maybe I could have made some money with that. But instead, I ended up buying books and paints for people. It was just sort of stupid. But I love, you know, I love not putting a spotlight on people. I think it's very hard. I'm very aware of the fact that a lot of people meet me or talk to me, and they feel like they are able to get a sense of who I am pretty easily when they see me on camera, or not even camera, like when they meet me in situations. I find
Yeah.
it odd because I don't know any other way to be. And I'm the kind of person who's like, you know, I'm nuts in that sense. Like I don't
Well,
know
that probably came from your teaching, right? You had to project a
no, my
certain
teaching came from
personality.
that. I
Oh,
was
okay.
I'll tell you, this is a true story, and for like, or this is a true story of my childhood. I think I was like 12, or no, I was 12. I was like 14 or years old, or 15 years old maybe. And I was talking to this woman who was over at my house for some party that the adults were having. And I was in the middle of this conversation with her, and I remember, I think it was my mother came over and said, so so you've been talking to that woman over there for like 40 minutes. You know what I mean? And I was like, let's say I was 15, just so it doesn't freak me out more. And I said, yeah, she was just talking to me, and she was just, you know, she's going through a really hard time right now. I mean, she just had a hysterectomy, and then with her daughter going off to college, it's a very difficult time for her. And I just felt like, you know, she just needed to talk to somebody. And I was like, what the fuck did you just talk to this person about? And it was just, I'd meet people, and I was just genuinely able to talk to people because I actually care about people.
Yeah.
And you know, it's such a bizarre way of looking at the world, but I've always looked that way. And I think that what's kind of interesting to me is they say that that where what was it they always would describe my Myers-Briggs type as, is which is I always found weird, but closed book and speed reader, which I don't know if I believe the closed book is the case, but it's just one of those things, man. You know, I would just like, I look at things and I go, "Ooh, I know what's great about this person." Does that make sense? Like when I meet people,
Not
I
so
go, "I know
much.
what's." Does that make sense at all, or maybe that sounds nuts?
Not really. I don't know.
But
I mean, I
it's
got the first part though. Like, you know, because I'm that way too, where I'll go somewhere and I'll look, you know, for the person who needs somebody to talk to, old person, things like that, you know,
mhm.
and because then I don't know, that's what I want people to do to me. So you know, so,
Yeah,
kind of,
it's strange, you know, because the people that I've always enjoyed the most and enjoyed spending, you know, the most time with were people that I've found to be interesting. You know what I mean? And found to be people who are obviously genuine, but interesting. And I this may sound sort of like a no brainer, but you probably know what I mean. I find my wife to be incredibly interesting as a person. You know, 23 years or whatever, we're, I mean, longer together, but married. You know,
right.
and I just think, you know, like if she like that's like a core thing for me. You know, she's got to be sexy, she's got to be, you know, cute, she's got to be all these other great qualities, but I think she's got to be interesting first and foremost, and she's got to be on a track, you know, to you know, going, you know, like somewhere with her life. And you know, when I meet artists, what had me really invested in people like John Malin and people like Ethan Van Sciver is, and Michael, without a doubt, is they've really, and I mean, if I'm leaving anybody out, too bad. You're in my brain. Trust that, right? So I can't keep going, or it'll go on for days. But is that I really feel like I understand and am invested in their story of how they got to where they are. Do you know what I mean? And it's like
Yeah.
Ethan is like, has really, it's more than just a comic book. He has found, you know, what he's supposed to be doing with his life as a
Yeah.
broadcaster.
Well, the fascinating
And
thing is
yeah,
how he, you know, he was put through an ordeal,
good
basically put on the
God, yes.
street. You know,
Yep.
it was, and that's what so that's what I think is interesting about all these independent comics is they're coming from the heart. I mean,
Hmm.
Ethan created that thing from the heart, and he did not just like Stanley. He didn't expect it. Spider-Man was going to take off. You know, I don't think Ethan expected those sales figures from
Hmm.
Cyberfrog.
It was
So it was
a
from the
joy of my
heart.
life to have been on those early streams when that was happening. And it really was. I know that sounds ridiculous because I don't know the man, but it was an incredible thing to watch them see what was happening and get to hear it on those live streams.
Yeah.
And I will say this, that this, I always think about this. It's like, yeah, they really put Ethan through the ringer before he had that big success. And then I go, and J.K. Rowling, I mean, it's not like she was coming back from a foreign country, fleeing a physically abusive, husband with as a single mother. Like, there's a reason why these trials make people have enough experience. And I would actually say if there's two things that come together that probably are responsible for my success at teaching and my success with people, it's having a natural quality for empathy and being able to talk to people and not developing cynicism through some very, very tough times. And those two in combination are make you unstoppable, in terms of certain things. Cause you just think, especially the harder of the situation you come out of. I mean, I was jokingly telling my wife, my favorite Southernism is you can't fall out of the basement. And it really does give you this kind of fearlessness. I love when J.K. Rowling said that. She goes, I had made such a mess of my life when I came back to England. I had failed bigger than I ever thought I had. I had spectacularly failed. And rock bottom was the perfect, solid foundation to build myself back from. And I'm like, damn, woman, you got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was in a basement. I was in a basement dweller, and so I started at the bottom too.
Yeah, of course.
But that's the thing is you go, okay, here I am now. How do I get out, and how do I build this? Because I was bent on making a success as an artist, and I wasn't going to quit or nothing. I wasn't even part of the program there, but so it was inspirational because you got nothing, then you can only go upwards. And
I other people's success is, and let me be clear, one of the things that is why I'm in Comicsgate, guys. One of the things, and hey, what's up, Eric the Guapo? It's great to see you, my friend. Yeah, no, we're kicking it late here, but one of the things I got to make sure I say is I am absolutely, the reason I'm in Comicsgate and the reason I'm out of academia is for the first time I've really confronted one of the most difficult things in the world for me, what was difficult for me, which is I'm realizing how unhealthy it is to not be about, having drive and expecting, to take care of your success as much as you help other people. And not in the sense that helping other people ever gets in the way of that, but sometimes it's great for people to use as an excuse. Do you know what I mean? For not taking care of and putting themselves out there and putting their work out there.
You mean putting other people before your artistic endeavors and needs, or?
Yeah, I would say that. Gosh, what's the way I would put it? I would say that I think that we all go through like different things. Like I know J.K. Rowling's, was like, I want to be a published author. I think I'm going to be this. I think I'm going to be that. With me, it was I was very good at, how do I word this? Gosh, I can't even think about the best way it is. I like helping people and I really enjoy helping people, but I tend to not, I had a tendency to kind of, Ethan has talked about this before, where it's like whenever someone would come into his sphere, he would want to help them and do right by them. And he ended up meeting a lot of psychopaths that way. That was kind of where I started to realize, nope, there's a bouncer now. Not everybody gets this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Even when I look at Ethan, I think that just because he's had that experience, I approach it in a way that say, hey, look, you owe me nothing. If I'm coming in here, I'm gonna have the proper attitude because I know how you've been, dicked around a little bit here. Yeah. And I'm not expecting anything, from him. But then like the other day, he live streamed it with the Two-Fisted Manly Tales for like 6 hours, and I'm like, whoa, I was surprised at how many people that he did help that came back and didn't just say thank you. Thank you.
Me,
why wouldn't you say? So I did online. On Twitter, I was like, thank you so much. This is a gift. Yes. I called it a gift. It is a gift. It's an actual gift, free gift. If you get the best marketer in comics working for you for free, you better act like, you better be appreciative,
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and by the way, Donth also says hello to you, so don't feel Eric the Guapo as if there's anything wrong.
Well, no, that's accurate because right there's it's Dan and Shanth talking, so it's
Exactly.
Hey,
That's
Don.
right, Don. That's right. That's
I
what
like
we are.
that.
Yeah, that's
He doesn't have to say hi
our,
to both of us. Just say,
yeah,
Hey, Don.
exactly. The Donth stream. Gross Point Donth. That's what we'll call it, man.
There we go.
That would be excellent. But this is the thing to me, right? Here's the best way I would put it, is that we have to sort of value and keep something for ourselves to have energy. And I think being a parent, but also realizing that you help more people by leading by example. And you can, the better you put yourself in that situation because for a while, like I'm a natural dad, parent, like I love the job, love taking care of my kids. But I'll tell you, the more I've been kind of, using my skills to build something that I own, that I have equity in, the more it's had a positive impact on them. Cause they're like going, I guess they just never saw me do my thing before, if that makes sense. I've always been doing my thing to entertain and bring students to colleges, but at the end of the day, they decide who gets the resources. And with Shanthan Jetty Art, I decide how to use these resources, and I find I'm much more responsible with them, if that makes sense.
And John makes a good point there. Foundations are built from the bottom. That's so spot on.
So what's it about Comicsgate that attracts you, to be in here?
Well, I like just the freedom, freedom. I'm. It's kind of funny. I even when I've always been kind of conservative person, but when I was in art school way back then, it was the liberals that were kind of rejected, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that. I wanted everyone to be able to have a say. Now it's the conservatives that's happening too, and it's like I don't like that either. I'm a free speech person, and I love this thing is new to me. I've never seen freedom of speech get squashed like it's been getting squashed, and there's none of it in the Comicsgate people. You can do whatever you want. You can say pretty much, sometimes maybe stuff you shouldn't be saying. John Malin,
it's got to be 2 o'clock somewhere. No, it's got. I don't know. Yeah. John,
but the thing is that these guys are doing comedy shows, and it's like I like Curb Your Enthusiasm. If you're gonna watch something that's kind of funny, there's gonna be cringe moments occasionally. Yeah, it's just you talk that much, it's gonna happen. So you just got to be prepared for that. But I want the comedians, I want the artists to feel the freedom to be able to make a mistake. He said something that wasn't maybe very nice. You apologize. That should be it. Learn from it.
It's so funny.
This cancellation thing is unbelievably awful. Where 20 years ago you said something, like what in the world is that?
Well, it's the thing for me that was so attractive about Comicsgate is probably in some ways. I don't want to say completely different or not completely different, but it's different. Is that I started reading, or I read this Twitter chain, interestingly enough, by a guy who specializes in studying supply chains, and it was basically common sense financial advice, and it's worth reading. It was like How to Get Rich Without Getting Lucky was what it was called, but it was basically common sense mom and pop starting a business things, and this was happening in the during the time I would launch my 2 art books, during the time I was listening to Ethan's streams and Comicsgate, and it reminded me of who I was before I came off to school. And I thought, I'm working hard for the colleges I work at. I mean, painting classrooms. When I say I'm working hard, I don't mean I'm going in and teaching. I mean, I'm painting classrooms, ordering books, trying to make a great space for these students. And I went, it's like I'm running a private business with all of the financial risks, but none of the potential for financial rewards. And I'm like, I want to build something that I own, and that, everything you see on these streams, like when I was doing intros for Ethan, and I still would, whenever he sends me a message, I'm always game to do something for him. But when I'm doing all this stuff, it's me going, this is stuff I used to do for colleges. Like I put all of these resources into my books, and I went, holy shit. Like with Instagram and all that stuff, I went, I've just sold 2 art books doing this. And so, Comicsgate is basically to me about what I love the principles of this country for, which is you have the ability to rise as high as your talent and your work ethic will take you, without it being redistributed, without it being resented. I mean, it can be resented, but you don't have to have the resentment dictate your success to you. And that's what makes Comicsgate great, man.
Yep. It's just freedom. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot
mean,
of
it's good
fun.
stuff.
It's
Yeah,
fun to connect with people. I mean,
Yeah, it's
it's
fun.
like, so I watch a lot of these streams, and these guys are quick. They're funny.
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah.
so, and I'm not. So
Well, this is the thing about it, right? Is that it's not like I don't know. It's such an odd thing to me because I really love when people are hilarious. Like I love the comedy aspect of it, but I also love the fact that it just everybody brings their own kind of thing to it. Like it's strange. You could ask like a bunch of people what they find funny or what they enjoy, and we're all going to have possibly different things. A lot of us are going to have overlap. I mean, I think that some of the Cecil streams I've seen, especially back in the day, I'm not saying they're not now, but I'm just saying the ones I really remember clearly, they were hilarious. And I thought, this guy you could drop him in the middle of nowhere and he
Yep.
can just have you rolling.
yeah,
But there's all different types of humor in the way people look at things, in
yeah.
CG.
I've
And
been
it's
listening
great.
to that. I've been listening to for a long time, and I
Yeah.
remember the original Cecil character, which was living in the sister's
Yeah,
house and stuff, and
that's right. Yeah, man.
and he presented a real kind of almost loser type character,
Mhm.
and he was hilarious. And I
Yeah.
remember thinking like, who is this guy?
Yep. Who is he?
But
Where are the bodies?
so yeah, so it was just kind of funny how it organically developed into these and some of them are kind of doing characters a little bit, and it's a
Mhm.
lot of fun, and I think they're having fun with it, so
Yeah, and
that's
the
good too.
friendships that have come out of it too, which is the coolest part. It's like when I mean, I go back to that those early streams when Cecil came on the High Council and World Class Bullshitters with Jeff Hicks, and then I cut to Cecil staying at Ethan's house. I just go, my God, like it's when sometimes the world throws people together who needs to meet, and you see a lot of that happening here in CG. Man,
Well,
it's the
just look at
coolest.
all the people, like even at this the Jack show or something, where you got Kelsey,
Yeah.
Anna, and John, and Ethan. I mean, and they're like the most unlikely friends, you kind of in a
Yeah,
way. They're
and
coming
it's
from totally different places, and yet they connected, and it's really really interesting. And there's a lot of stuff like that. Like for me, I feel like as I come into this community, it's 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 more like I'm connecting with you because I think we're more interested in art and
mm,
that sort of thing with the way we're approaching it, anyways. And there's like just when you were talking to Bancroft, I was like just like I gotta get in on this, like I really want to talk, because he
yeah,
started talking about his, imagining his using his, which I thought was completely bizarre, but very interesting. How he's using his imagination to
mhm.
just think of other realities and stuff like that. Like, wow, that's got philosophical implications to it too.
Well,
And
when
I
you
thought
see
that
this
was
crew, this crew in my chat, you crazy people in this chat, you know who you are, and we love having you here. Is the thing I would say about this is that I really love talking to people, and I really do appreciate meeting different kinds of people. And the thing that has been so great about Comicsgate is, and also, frankly, even before I was officially here in Comicsgate with those first two art books, I was doing paintings of things. I said it was like that Stan Lee story that Ethan always tells. I just want to do this once. His wife saying, "Do this once your way." And
yep.
then you can walk. Like, let's see what this is. And you've seen the gorilla paintings and stuff like that I've done, but those paintings that are just there's this thing I can't describe. It's like it's got a ton of heart in it. When I do those paintings and the fantasy stuff, and Nosfero will be the same. And I don't know where that all comes from, but it's very much like I'm having a conversation um, with for me anyway. And I don't want this to sound too grandiose. It is because I say it with a lot of humility, but it's almost like I'm having this conversation with the human spirit. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, well,
it's
I think
complicated,
your art has a soul, and I think that's in getting back to some of the Comicsgate stuff. It's all from the heart, and
Yeah.
and so I think it's got a lot of soul to it, and that's why it's interesting. That's why it's good, and just it's all different too. That's you can kind of tell that there's not a real
Mhm.
everyone's going in a
Not
different
a house
directions and
style.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not a one style, so you have a lot of varieties and things you can you can look at and choose to pick, and so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, there's. I will tell you this: it's a great little outfit to be in. I don't mind.
Right.
I wake up every day with a smile. I think about things I could be doing, like occasionally, doing a musical number. When one of your friends gets sick and you got to do something fun, but it's a tremendous. The first rule of thumb is always, and this is to entertain, and to have fun with people. And I was really frustrated because I had a stream. I guess it was the stream I did 2 streams ago, where I like to have a steady, amount of streams out there so that people who are following me always check in and they see something new. And YouTube did some crazy thing where they will keep certain streams, and it could be because of a thumbnail, it could be because of something they think, their algorithm picks up, and they were not letting that thing, that stream go live with the chat. And it was like a couple of days ago. So a lot of people missed it, I didn't do it. What are we talking about? Yeah. Is an artist constrained? Is an artist constrained an artist?
An artist at all?
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, I couldn't. That's my reading. You answer that first.
Well, it depends on the level of constrainment and what type it is, I suppose. Because sometimes you get constrained, and all of a sudden something unique comes out of it. So I think it depends. But I know what he's saying is it's you gotta have it coming from the heart. It's got to be you, and yeah.
It's interesting. There's a really great quote from one of the actors who was on Guillermo del Toro's film Kronos. He was a seasoned Mexican actor, not Mexican American actor, Mexican actor, and he was Guillermo del Toro. He was a fairly successful and established actor, and he said, "What do you want me to do in this scene?" And Guillermo del Toro goes, "Just do whatever you want, have fun." And the actor stopped him, and he said, "No, I need to have boundaries or else I can't be free." And I went, "Oh, that's good." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so to me, it's, I'm constrained by the fact this has to fit in a certain format of book that I intend to print. I'm constrained that it's got to make sense. Those are definitely one thing, but the constraints that I found is that you are relatively free to make bad artwork and say incredibly nihilistic things. And where the push is happening now, where the real freedom is happening, at least to me, is it's happening in the ability to say something positive, to say something hopeful, and to not be afraid to show beauty and really speak to the audience. And that's what I really am finding, to be the exciting thing going on right now. And I think that it's really getting past that. There's a difference between having a healthy amount of fear for something and having a paralyzing amount of fear. They're very different things,
right. Yeah. I remember, what was that? I used to read a bunch of those Doc Savages and stuff like that, and Shadows and stuff. But there was a character called the Avenger, and his byline was something like, "In the heart of the crucible, steel is born." And I thought that was a cool line, but it's very true though. It's in the heat in the battle. That's when you perfect your battle skills, your fighting skills. And my art was kind of like, I got my Conan avatar here. That's kind of the way I saw it. I'm fighting. The competition was out there, and I wanted to get a job, and I'm going to crush the competition. Very much like Conan, hear the lamentation of their women.
John Milius, y'all. Yeah, that's it. You gotta love it. It's so funny.
But that was my attitude, sort of just kind of like that. I have less of that now. Age is kind of taking funny. Taking the edge off that Conan thing. At the edge off my sword,
It's so funny. I feel like college took the edge off of me so much, and I had a natural edge that was always there. And I felt like by Crom, people are saying Dan gets it.
That's right.
Yeah, I will tell you this. I felt like a caged lion for so many years. And I'm like, and my type of lion is not about I don't want this to sound like how it is, but it's kind of like, I'm like, fuck the podium. That's my attitude. And I've been that way my whole life. I'm like going, I don't want to be on that podium. I don't want to be with that. My shit's over here. I want to do some shit over here. Do you know what I mean? And I've had a very simple. My favorite movie and one of my favorite quotes of all time is comes from it. It's actually a quote from a Greek soldier, not a philosopher, as they misquote, but it's from Lawrence of Arabia, and it's I cannot fiddle, but I can make a great state from a little city. And I've been doing that my entire life. Like, you put me in like, you give me a little corner to build something, and I can build it. And it's one of those things, Shanth, what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of the women, as Arnold would say. But what's best in life for me is really, really simple, is being able to make my artwork successfully and not have anybody try to hamstring it, and be as successful as it should be and not a drop more. That's all I care about. Being a great dad, being a good husband, and not putting poison out into the world, and finding those kindred spirits out there. My ideal success hero, if there is such a person, is C.S. Lewis. That is the person I would say is the person I most look to as an ideal. When I hear stories about him walking down the street, and one of my favorite C.S. Lewis stories is that there was someone on the side of the street, there who was begging for money, and C.S. Lewis took out some money from his wallet, most of it, I think, and gave it to the gentleman. He was known for doing that. And his friend said to him, "Why are you going to give him that money? That guy's a wino. He's going to spend it on drink." And C.S. Lewis said, "If I kept it, I would." and at the same time, that didn't get in the way. Like, when he was penalized at Oxford, which is why he never got his full time, and he was only full time in Cambridge, because they were jealous of his success. He dealt with a lot of bullshit, which I certainly dealt with in academia. But he was able to put out Chronicles of Narnia, live his life as a decent human being, and find love after a difficult life. And I think that's the shit right there. I mean, that's what I love about it,
Yeah. I also thought I think the other interesting guy was G.K. Chesterton. He had a lot of interesting things to say.
Oh my gosh.
Fascinating.
Don't you miss those kinds of days?
Oh man.
Where
are they now?
Yeah, you know what it is? It's the most wretched thing in the world about it all, is that we have to wake up, and we have to put that time in to put good stuff in our heads. Like, when I listen to Marcus Aurelius, and Marcus Aurelius is, I forget what it is, his Meditations or whatever it was called, his book was called, someone will know in the chat, I guarantee you. And he said he was going through the list of people he wanted to give thanks to, and one of them was, "To my brother Severus." And you go, dang, J.K. Rowling read a lot of classics when she studied classics. That's it. And you start to realize, that so much of what makes these artists and these people that bring a lot to the table so great and so compelling.
Hey,
I always love when I gotta move that up so you guys can see it unwarped. But when I draw with things laying down, you know how it is for the camera. Everything is totally out of proportion. When I stand it up, it's too funny.
Speaking of these great Christian guys, my favorite modern guy is Keith Ward. Did you ever hear of him?
I think I have, but I'm not totally aware of all of his works.
He's interesting. He's an interesting guy. I've listened to a number of things that he's his lectures, and they're pretty cool, because he doesn't he doesn't come across as a guy who's saying, "I got it all figured out and I know everything." That's my first criteria. They have to admit that they don't know everything. Too many
it's
people
so
are
funny.
like that.
I was when I was in college, I was exposed to, and it was good. It was a good thing for me at the time, to Joseph Campbell and all that kind of stuff. And so my jump from there, I mean, I got into C.S. Lewis and all of that other stuff in a kind of roundabout way. But the person who's really played probably the biggest role in shaping me as of late was, of course, funny enough, Jordan Peterson. And you could have knocked me over with a feather when I'm like, in all this, Comicsgate stuff. And then I learned that Ethan did the illustrations for 12 Rules for Life. And I was like, is there some somebody conspiring here or
Yeah,
something.
I do find him really interesting, but sometimes a bit meandering. Like, kind of like
Sure.
he loses me a little bit.
He speaks professor.
Yeah.
He speaks meetings. And by the way, it's funny with me, it's like I'm one of those people with where, and I don't say this as a point of pride, but when I find somebody who kind of just, as I love to say, fickles my dancy, I tend to kind of really study the living hell out of them. And it's like C.S. Lewis is one of those people to where the more I look at the things he's done and the things that, some of the interesting things, the more I kind of gain a better understanding of him as an artist and his style of work. It's really interesting. Like his fiction and then his biography has been really interesting to me lately.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Poor,
so tell
poor
me
guy's
about
been through the ringer.
Yeah.
Physically, like, oh my gosh, he's practically dying. It's really horrible.
Yeah.
His
Oh,
daughter,
seriously.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what though? It's funny. At first I wasn't sure if you're talking about, and I was, it's talking about Jordan Peterson. But I think that the thing about Jordan Peterson is he's a great teacher, and he's a very compelling speaker. He's done some amazing work. But if you put him up against people in terms of, for me, and I'm not even a big Tolkien Lord of the Rings fan. I'm not an anti-fan, but I do have respect for what it means for one to utter the words, "I'm a huge Tolkien fan," if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm a huge Tolkien fan. Yeah,
see,
I mean,
so if someone comes up to me and they say I'm a fight fan, I'm literally like going, "Oh, are you?" Because I'm a massive boxing fan. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a huge fight fan. So like when somebody's like, drops Hector Camacho's name in the chat or whatever, but I'm like, I just am a huge fight fan. Like beyond that, like I love learning about new fighters. I have, a pretty decent memory for fighter stats and things and what weight class people were and things like that.
It's crazy that all the Russian and Ukrainian fighters that have come into the field in these recent years.
It's because they come from an easy part of the world. It's the secret to success.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
These guys are fighting. They're fighting, scrapping every step of the way.
They're hungry, often literally, and that is what makes them freaking serious people.
Exactly.
You look at some of these guys and they just kind of like stare downs don't mean anything. It's like you have no idea. You're staring down a lion, and this is the reality of it. But it's with C.S. Lewis and with Tolkien, think about how Tolkien doing his own translation of what do you call it, of Beowulf, for God's sake, that wasn't released until I guess Christopher Tolkien went in and did the research and tried to, put that together for people to see. These are people who were ridiculously motivated. And then at the same time, they were teaching on campus and they were doing all this stuff. Hey, El Duarte, it's good to see you, my friend. And yes, good night, Jay. Absolutely. Get a good night's sleep. Yeah, 3:30 a.m. there. And I know it's 4:33 here. So it's craziness. But it's, I will tell you, I look at the Inklings and I look at what they did, and they were just, as much as I respect Jordan Peterson and the things he's contributed, those guys were in their own, their own tier.
Hey, can I change the topic a little bit?
Please.
Instagram. How do you build your Instagram? I saw your Instagram. It's like got thousands of people, and I've got I don't know, 500 or something. Maybe not that, and I've been going for a while. Is there a secret to that?
Yeah, I got in during a time when it wasn't owned by Facebook and algorithmed to death. That's a big part of it. But it's if someone were to say to me, okay, here's some thoughts. I know because I know some people who are getting in on Instagram. I don't know if Instagram is improving. Like I've heard mixed things from different people. The biggest thing is hashtags. Back in the day, they have a weighted scale now, is what I have found. You can go back to some of my earlier Instagram posts when I had far less followers, and they had like 30,000 views. You could happen into that if you had skill back in the day, and I don't know, it's a little bit odd, but I really think it has to do with gosh, I don't know. It's a tough thing to say. If someone were asking me where I think you could build yourself up quicker, I would say probably, I know it sounds crazy, even just showing art, I think you can probably build yourself up quicker on YouTube and Twitter than you can on Instagram
Yeah,
these days.
and also I'm wondering, does Instagram even do anything? Does that translate into sales?
Oh, well, I can tell you it translates to, well, when I first did the art books, it was all of my sales because that's where most people knew me from Instagram. But I would say now on my latest Indiegogo, it contributed almost nothing in terms of sales. Almost all my sales came from, we call it from YouTube and from Comicsgate and from, my existing fan base who followed me over to YouTube. But it was not by any stretch.
There was that one guy, Icarus in the Sun or something like that, and he translated. He took his audience from there and got some great sales. But I haven't heard anybody else do that. I haven't. So maybe the algorithm has changed or not. I don't know.
Well, I think also sometimes it's like, how does one, like when I got onto Instagram, it played a huge role. No one knew who the hell I was. I was in academia. That's one of the things that really gave me the confidence in a lot of ways with all of this stuff, which is nobody knew who the hell I was. So all of my success on Instagram came from just the art I was put. It was really, I mean this sincerely. It was really affecting and moving, being trapped in academia's, subjective quality. Like your classes fill, and all of your students learn and have careers, but that doesn't make you a good teacher. Instagram at that time was like just pure merit. Nobody could sort of lie and bullshit you out of, your success. I don't know what the case is now, but what I would always say is look for the platform that has the least amount of hand on the scale going for it. And I think right now that's what Instagram is. It's like, you can, I found, like, I don't know, I haven't even looked at what I've done over there lately. Hang on a second. I'm just going to check. I don't post there regularly anymore as a result of that, because I was clearly getting throttled. And, I remember what it is. They added a new feature where you can, quote, follow somebody, but you're not really seeing their posts. And it's something they do so that they can show advertisers and do marketing. But it has the unfortunate effect of what I loved about Instagram back in the early days is that how many people followed you were how many people who wanted to see your work. And so once they shifted that scale, and back in those days, that's when I got up to 30,000 followers. You had, actual, like, actionable intelligence in terms of how things were doing. YouTube is very much that way. If someone is subscribed to you on YouTube, they might say, oh crap, I haven't seen your stuff in a while and I'm going to unfollow this or unfollow that. But YouTube is very reactive. So looking for that stuff.
So Instagram could be just a waste of time at this point.
It could possibly be, but here's the way I measure whether something's a waste of time or not, is whether or not the things that you do, like your time commitment to it and the work you do, show reasonable results for the quality of what you're doing. So it's either a quality problem, it's a method or a strategy problem, or it's the platform. And I'm always slow to judge the platform, to be perfectly honest. I love the chat. You guys are absolutely making it happen. You guys cracking me up. But it's the way I would say it is that with your work, if you're putting it out there consistently, you should see, steady growth. But it's what makes those lightning in a bottle moment happen where your work just catches. I have never understood that. I gotta be honest with you. I can tell you this. I have a very unsophisticated social media strategy, which is I do what I do. I put myself out there in the best way I know how to, work my tail off, but I really couldn't tell you. I was shocked, Dan. I was shocked when all that happened. I couldn't explain it. I remember that when I said, I looked at my amount of whatever followers on Instagram, and I was like, I don't think I even know 100 people. Like, I just didn't understand it. I was like, this person's commenting on my artwork and I don't know them. Who is this person?
Another one that gets me is Twitter. I don't quite understand. Like, Facebook makes sense to me, where you have a post, then the comments are underneath it, and I can read them all in succession. But when you with Twitter, I don't know if I'm not doing it right or what, but it's like I get a comment, I can see my notification, I click on it, but I can't see the comment. I like, what is this person referring to? I forgot what I wrote. So,
there is no way to do Twitter correct for starters. No, there might be,
okay,
but it's not a place where
mess,
correct is a thing that happens in my personal experience. However, the thing that Twitter does allow that is big is the power of the hashtag. And for anybody in CG, and for me, this is, I mean, I don't think it's anything that anybody's particularly, afraid of usually. I mean, I guess that people are, but by the time I got here, I was like in for a penny, in for a pound. It's the hashtag Comicsgate and letting people know you're Comicsgate and you're there is like one of the best ways to get to meet people, because and also what I like about the Comicsgate hashtag, which only dawned on me recently, is that you can actually avoid a lot of bullshit by hashtagging your stuff Comicsgate, because there's a lot of people who hashtag hash brown, says my buddy Rocky. It's I never Twitter. I'm not even a Twitter quitter. There you go. I will say this is that you get to find people who are not into cancel culture. And if somebody's actively seeking out Comicsgate because they hate it, that's on them. That's their problem. But it's a really great way for me anyway to meet our really serious, audience when it comes to supporting books, but also when it comes to not being about cancel culture and all that other bullshit, And so, I mean, I think that
here's my skin. They're talking about skin.
Wait, which thing? Oh yeah, go ahead.
My Gem Shock picture there.
Oh yeah, let me see it. Where? Oh yeah, there it is. Let's have it, guys. Yeah, let's show this. Boom. Look, listen. You seem like a decent guy, but nobody in my chat wants you to come on and draw here. I'm sorry. I just looking at the numbers, Dan.
See, now this is really unusual for me. Those blues and greens in the body, I don't usually do that kind of stuff. So it's kind of a little different for me. I was just slapping color around. So
yeah, and let me just say this: God, and listen, I hate to see this. Skip Edwards is like, I don't care for that Gem Shock piece. Skip Edwards, keep it clean in my chat.
Thanks, Skip. I appreciate it.
Look, seriously, man. I don't know what you want me to tell you here. It's a very, very simple thing. Is that when you get your, did you post this on Twitter?
Yeah, it took off. Mandy's seen it and she loves it, and she's probably going to use it as a card, like trading.
You
card,
don't say.
Yeah.
So what was the thing you wanted to ask me about social media? No.
Oh.
Look, listen. I'm a simple man, Dan. I'm just a simple man from Grosse Pointe Woods. Okay.
Well, I'm trying to compare notes. Because I clearly don't know what I'm doing. So
it's the simplest thing in the world. Skills pay bills. Draw things that you like. Don't be afraid to draw what you want to draw. Hashtag your stuff Comicsgate. Put it out there, and then talk to people who want to talk to you. Really, I mean, that's what this stream is. It's like, I don't want us to overthink this and get into postmodernism here, but it's like, do you feel like it's pretty easy talking to me?
Sure.
Yeah. I feel like it's pretty easy talking to you. Do you like art?
Yeah. So I mean, exactly.
Yeah,
This
is comics.
This is fun.
Yeah. All these lunatics in the chat who also like waffles, hash browns, depending on what you're into, however you roll. All these amazing people are the people that we've been looking for probably our entire careers. And we've all found each other. And that's the most incredibly beautiful, amazing thing about Comicsgate. And I am a romantic in that way, because I love art, and art saved my life. It's the most important thing in the world. It was my life, and it has been forever. Like, I can't remember a time when it wasn't. And what I will say is that when you put your artwork out there and it does well because it's like this. People are seeing it. They know what this character is. The people who know what this character is and know what this character is about are Comicsgate. What does Comicsgate mean? People who are motivated not to like things, not to wink at things, not to try to say, my status is I have 10,000 followers or 100,000 followers. we don't give a shit about status, right? We're like, my comic collection is awesome. And I love these books. And I love the creators I support's work. And the creators love the idea of making money off of passionate backers who they're going to build a customer relationship with over time, just like it was always done. What's up, Frog G? Hail to you, my friend. And so when people see this, their only question is, where can I buy this? And you know this. Everybody in CG, we love that. We love being able to buy these things.
I think Mandy said that she's getting a lot of blowback from this character. People are really not happy about it because it is a really good character. It's kind of the feminist maybe worst nightmare where you got. I mean, she's gorgeous, but she's also really tough. I mean, this woman can grow diamonds out of her body. I mean, she's deadly. You know, she could take care of Wonder Woman in a few seconds with her razor's edges. And she's pretty near indestructible too. So it's kind of a super strong woman, but she just happens to be gorgeous. That's when you realize the real problem.
and it's this is the other thing too. It's fun. And that's the thing that people who don't have this is the thing I always say that was the biggest issue we run into. People who say, I don't have a sense of humor, so you can't have one either. I'm not attractive, so you can't be attractive. I can't draw things accurately, so you can't draw things accurately. I don't. I think it's or fun or well or skilled. I don't understand that. Everybody here, for the most part, is very is very live and let live, and very do your best work and let's sell comic books. And we get excited, about that whole idea. And this is the greatest thing about Comicsgate right now is, it needs as many excellent, skilled people in it as possible. And that's the thing, it needs as many skilled people if it's going to grow. Manga has
the rising tides. The rising tide's going to raise all the ships for sure.
Yeah, I mean, look at the atmosphere, what happens to any industry, and I consider academia to be such an industry where people are become obsessed with status and making sure they get this thing and that special perk and all of that kind of stuff, and and in comics where it's kind of like, I want to control, I'm the editor, so I want to make sure I get to write all of these books, and it's really kind of amazing because in CG, people are kind of like, okay, come create your character, work hard on it. It's got to be the right combination, just like comics have always been, the right combination of enough good writing and good art or whatever to meet that threshold. We don't know exactly what angle you're going to take. You've got people like Phil Diaz, who is a creative powerhouse, who is just cranking out some of the coolest ideas I think I've seen in comics. Hail to Phil. And you've got all of these people who are doing things in their own particular way, just like any good industry is. Attack on Titan as a anime or manga does not, depending on which one it is, does not harm the sales of Berserk any more than Demon Slayer does, because there's room for there's room for excellence, and people are starved for entertainment right now. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. All you got to do is say hi, Comicsgate. That is the key for how you join up Comicsgate, and you guys know it. I know. Hi, Comicsgate is what it is. Hail, Comicsgate's another way, but it just comes down to, look at, guys in the chat. Give me some ones in the chat. When you see that piece, do you think, I'd spend money on that? I'd like to buy. Where is that? Where can I buy something that will have that on it? Give me a one in the chat if that's the case. I can tell you. Hold on a second. Sorry, I forget sometimes that I've got this capacity. Let me see some ones in the chat. Let me see some ones in the chat if you guys have backed Nosfero the Crypt Walker. I know we've got some of you guys in the chat for that too. So give me another one if you've backed Nosfero the Crypt Walker. Let's see it, guys. But let's get some ones in the chat. Would you want to buy a trading card and support a book where that was a trading card? Yeah, that's right. Skip Edwards is like 4, bitches. 4. That's it. You cannot stop him. Skip Edwards' style is impetuous. His defense is impregnable. He's ferocious. He wants to eat your heart. That's Skip Edwards. What's up, Charlie Stevenson? I see you there. You see all these ones?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really appreciate it.
That's how we feel about that piece. That's how we feel about Gemshock. It's how we let people know I've backed Nosfero. I've backed Cyberfrog. I've backed these books. And the only, like, this is the thing. The only thing that holds us back is rotating in and out resources, but, you know, financially. But that's why we've got CG now. We've got all of these great things, but people are here to be entertained. And I don't know about you, but I mean, and a lot of us are, I'd say, just basic old school this way. I want, all 16 of us. But let me tell you something, guys. You get a couple of groups of 16 together and you get $1 million campaigns. That's how it works. You guys know this. We built this city on rock and roll.
Isn't part of it too that these guys are going out and promoting our work because they actually believe in it and they really support us.
In it.
And that, so that 16 people can multiply, because they're helping us out, really, you know.
Yeah. I remember hearing Chris Rock say about in his really great stand-up special about the kids who you know, blah blah blah, committed a horrific crime in 1999 at a particular school, which I won't mention. And he said they were, you know, what was the narrative? No one will play with them. He's like, I saw a picture of them. There were 2 of them. He goes, I don't have one friend now. And I was just dying. And I said to myself, you know, it's like, I've got, guys, when you look at Nosfero, guys, and I look at this number, when I wake up, I look at it, Dan, I'm telling you, it is just, you know, we talk about the idea of grace. We talk about the idea of all these brilliant and beautiful things that are a part of life, you know, that make life worth living, you know. And for me, it's like, I look at this stuff and I just go, you know, I just don't even know how else to say it, is that I look at this stuff and I go, I've got, let's see if this will let me do this now. Oh, there we go. Share. And then I come over to here. God, I feel positively geriatric when I do this stuff. I look at this number right here, and we started this thing. I mean, we're 1 away from 340 backers, guys. This is bananas. Let me tell you something, John. I agree. We're going to make this thing grow even bigger, but I would say this. I'm going to be doing the work to make that happen. I'm going to be pushing this stuff. And I also always remind myself this, guys. I know you guys know this, and I love your energy. Love your energy, guys. But I'm a first-time creator out of the gates doing this stuff, and I am telling you guys, I thank you so much. You know, yeah, that's right. I love John. You're killing me, man. I love you, man. CG only has $25, but we pass it around real fast. That's got to be one of my favorite quotes. But I look at this. This is the number that gets me, guys. And it's seriously, it gets me emotional when I see it. I'm not even joking. I see 339 people who believe that this needs to be a book and they want to have it in their collection. There's nothing that will ever. It's so affecting. And when I think about that number going up, it's like every single time, it's like one person at a time, 1, 2, 3 people at a time, 100 people at a time. We get to 339. Will we get to 30K? I think so. Will we go beyond that? I think so. If Sean cries, I'm gonna cry. Don't worry, I'm not crying. You're crying, Skip. But this is the thing that I love about it, man. It's like seriously, you guys, what you guys have done, and what Comics Gate. I don't even know if I've mentioned this. This past week, I think I picked up 9 backers in the last week, and this is in demand. And I know it's just going to take like more and more, you know, work and more things I'm doing. But I've been working in CG doing videos and things now for a couple of years. But this is me, you know, stepping out into the fray, and look at what we're making happen, man. It's craziness. I've met some of the best friends I've met, you know, best artist friends I've ever met. And I mean that in terms of their technical skill and in terms of their generosity. And I love it, guys. Absolutely love it. And you guys rock.
Hey, Shop, would you go on the professionals and that sort of gang? You know, those you get on those shows, or have you been to Billy's Pop XP or?
Oh, I mean, I'll go on any show that'll have me. Generally speaking, I mean, it's just a question of the schedule. But I'm on. You know, I've got the show I do with Gabe, which you know. And then I'm now on a new show that's on Tuesdays on Eric Weathers' channel. That's the CG team. And I just did a I just did an intro for them, and it was funny. I did the intro with Michael Bancroft in it, and I was all excited about it. And then Michael, because he's working on the Lucent and getting things out there, and on Camel Moon Nights, is so completely busy. So now I am in that crew and going to be on that show. But it just all has come out of meeting people with similar interests and getting to know them over time. But the professionals are like I love that crew. They're great. Andy Smith and all those guys. I love that show. That's great stuff.
Yeah. There's an idea. Just if you need a man card at any point, you can just back Two-Fisted Manly Tales.
That is the key, guys. Two-Fisted Manly Tales. If you want to see some incredible artwork by this gentleman right here, as if anything he touches is not gold, and it stays gold. That's right, Pony.
I always say a disclaimer though on that. I say don't present this to your wife or significant other to get out of doing something, because you're liable to get that thing ripped up in front of you.
Exactly. That's right.
Pieces. You grab it and. Exactly. You watch the little pieces fall to the ground.
It could be dark, man. It could be dark. What are we seeing here? Are you going to reprint the sold out art books before you close out, Sean? I don't like trying to buy sold out items. I don't know what that means. The art books I think are still available as an add-on, if I'm not mistaken. So if you back one of the books, that tier where you get all three is sold out. But then someone asked me if I could do the art books as an add-on tier for certain other, I think it was Phil wanted to buy them with the original head sketch. So I'm not sure if they're totally sold out as add-ons, but let me know. And if my brain is pudding right now, by the way, so if I'm giving you an incoherent and useless answer, I apologize, Skip.
Yeah, but, I'm starting to check out too, actually, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to wrap it up. It's 5 a.m. here for anybody wondering.
Even for me.
It's like I can hear my daughter's pet rabbit waking up and thumping for breakfast, which is a terrifying thing to realize. If those of you guys who don't know, we own the rabbit from the Monty Python films, and he only feasts on human flesh, and it's terrifying. All right, Skip, I appreciate that, brother. Listen, Dan, thank you for stopping in. We're going to wrap up the evening, and I'm not going to make you stick around for talk because I'm going to pass out as soon as the stream is over, guys. So have a great
thanks you guys for being a part of everything here. So
and let me know this.
Really
Guys, thank you, chat, and absolutely right, Dan. And if we could just get some more ones in the chat. I'm just curious before we close out. Give me a 1 in the chat. If you want to throw some money at Dan Lawless as soon as you can on any project, just let me know. Let's see some 1s in the chat there. I know that I am ready to throw some cash his way for anything. I don't care if it's a gem, character. God, my brain is Gem Shock character. That's, trading card or any of it. I am absolutely game, that is what it's about. That is what it's about. And I'm telling you, SDA, it's like these people are like, you're darn tootin'. That rabbit will get you. This is the way it is. 1, and is there a link to share asking for reasons? Yeah, absolutely. Dan, let me see if I can get Two-Fisted Manly Tales, which is in demand, right? Am I correct?
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
Oh, should I show
worried
those
every
pages
time
real
I
quick?
Google that. Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Hang on one quick second. Let me just get this in the chat. And then, so this right here, folks, if you need to back this book and you want to get some beautiful stuff, he's got a page he's going to be sharing with us. But let me get this in the chat and hail Graham Nolan. We love you, boss. And thank you for body shaming me by just existing. I want to throw that out there too. And let's see, when you got that page ready to rock, you let me know. There it is. Excellent. There we have it, guys. Guys, look at that. That is everything that's right in comics. That's what we want to have in comics. Just beautiful, man. Can you make it full screen? Even if we have
hang on a second. I'm going to zoom in on the
oh, cool.
On parts of this because this is important here. Hang on a second here.
Look at that. Yeah.
Very
That's right. You guys are killing me, man. I love that, man. I love seeing that.
There we go, right
love
there.
Being on that car, baby. Nosfero. I could not
Gem
be.
Shock, Replicator.
Yeah, I
Rod's
love
Replicator.
it, man. This is the craziest thing, right?
There's
this
a bunch
is
of stuff in there. The
love
the
about
truck's getting full of stuff too.
The truck is getting tattooed, guys. Shame or inspiration, you choose. That's what it's about, guys. It's always a combination. It's always a combination of the two, you know. And I think that, you know, when I look at that stuff and I look at the work that you're doing, let me see if I can just switch off to, there we go, get artist cam on there, make it a little bit easier. So, but when I look at this stuff, guys, it is brilliant.
There you go.
To see. Look at that, guys. You know, I mean, all of us, when we see this drawing, we're all struck by, you know, the type work, which is all that we were noticing. You should have people pay for sponsorship, says RB. That's right. Well, that's the crazy thing, right? This is the thing, RB. Let me tell you something about, and yeah, here you go. Great work, Dan, from RB. One of my groomsmen, and a good dude, a good lad. And this is the thing about it, guys. When I look at this stuff and I look at this work, what I think people have a hard time understanding is that there really aren't any tricks in CG. I know you guys know this. You guys who've been around for all this time. We work hard, people meet people, things organically happen. And when people see artwork or things that they're into, they say, hey, do you want to work on something? Do you want to come on a stream? Do you want to just, oh, there's a question here. Who did the colors on this, Dan?
Yeah,
I'd love to.
I did it all. So.
Darn right. Yeah. Dan did it all. And just beautiful stuff.
I have to color it myself because really there's not a lot of line work here. If you saw the line work, it's not much to it. I'm really painting this thing, really, you know.
Yeah, when I looked at it and I realized that there wasn't, you know, a lot of line work on it. I was actually about to write a complaint letter. So I'm glad you explained that. You know what I'm saying? Like, what I love about aesthetics and a beautiful artwork is you just look at it and everything else falls away. And that's what's brilliant about this, man. So this stuff is what I love.
Not a lot of, you know, there's no shadows. I'm putting everything, all the, you know, the contrast in with with the color. So you can't really have, in other words, I can't have someone color my work. It's not my work anymore.
Yeah, I that's what I had to get to with painting. I was like, I have to go straight in and do this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I love it. You know, I love doing this stuff. All right, guys, cats and kittens, we got to get out of here. All of you fine folks, stay gold. I'm going to close out the night, and Dan, I will talk to you soon, my friend.
Thanks a lot, man.
Hey, my pleasure, brother.
We will talk. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care. I'm going to close us out with, if I can, with our usual music. And you guys take care and have a great evening. And thank you for being here this fine evening. So let's see what we do. Yeah, we'll do this one. Take care, guys.
Here's a little something for you busters. Yeah.
You're not even learning anything on the street.
Yeah.
You think I'm stupid, son?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say to you, boy?
Yeah.
Do you?
What's up with that?
Look at me, damn it!
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack. What's up with
You
that?
smoke crack, don't you?
Y'all cowards don't even smoke crack.
Look at me, boy!
Hey to
You
you,
smoke crack, don't you?
don't even smoke crack.
You know what that does to you? Huh? You smoke crack, don't you?
Smoke crack.
Go on and do it expeditiously.
What's up with that?
It kills your brain cells, son. It kills your brain cells.
Don't even smoke crack.
No guts, huh?
I apologize. I forgot you were there. You may go now.